Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Whoa. No game show music. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Scooney B, and welcome to this edition.
I thought we were going a cappella there. We were just going to.
Yeah, really.
Who needs music, man? Who needs it? What's up, guys? How's up? I hope everybody's doing well out there. We got Jim, we got William, we got Danny D, we got Jeremy, Eric, and Griffin joining us from Cali.
What's up, Griffin?
Nice and early from California. We are Sports Take.
West Coast love, baby.
Jim, I can't bust out the gritty this soon, man. It's we gotta let that breathe. You know what I mean? The first performance was enough for the folks.
I think it should be brought back as a Christmas special.
Yeah, that's fair. Nice gift Christmas for the people. Yeah, a little gift. I like.
See, look, let's see. Christmas Eve is on a Saturday. I think you should bust it out on that Friday, the 23rd.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is my wife's birthday. I got to remember.
23rd?
23rd of December.
Mine's the 21st.
Guess whose birthday's today?
Not mine, my wife. Sorry.
Our ex manager.
Who?
Don't say names, man.
MM?
Yeah.
How would you know that?
We talked about it yesterday.
Really? Oh, I got to hit that individual up there.
There you go.
Me too, man.
Beautiful, man. All right, good.
Hey, what's this?
There's not a small chance in hell you do it though, Rob, right?
Yeah, right. Rob will be like, you know what? Happy birthday, y'all.
No comment.
Dang.
This thing on?
What is this? Eric Winters. D Guns is better to eat nasty chitlings.
No. When I was younger. Yeah, when I was younger. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Rob was like, what the heck is that?
No, I know what that. There's things that I had to eat that I won't eat as an adult.
Wait, you ate chitlings as a kid?
No, not chitlings. No,
okay.
But I'm saying we had, we'd have like liver sometimes. We'd have.
I'm not playing that. I'm grown and I refuse.
Yeah.
This food. I will not eat beets. I will not eat liver.
No.
Although I will say this, when I'm smoking a bird, and if the liver is, I'll smoke the liver or the gizzard. I love gizzards. I ain't gonna lie to you. Chicken gizzards, you can get them at restaurants.
Yeah.
I love chicken gizzards, but liver, my parents made me eat enough liver. I'm anti-liver. Chitlins,
Me too.
We used to have chitlins like New Year's Day or Christmas Day once a year, and that was enough because the whole house smelled like a septic tank for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I'm grown now.
Yes,
I'm grown.
I agree, Val.
Well, you're grown.
It's one. Like there are a lot of responsibilities that aren't as fun that come with being adult. One of the ones that are fun, whatever the word is. I'm going to decide what I'm going to eat, and
yes, we know, Rob.
I'm not going to be forced. Yes, I will have my Cheerios dry. Thank you.
Look, Barrett. I will say this, Barrett. You are grown physically, but mentally, that's
here we go.
No, I say the same thing about myself. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That applies to the three of us. So
okay. I was gonna say I have no intentions of growing up.
Exactly.
I told you this.
We're sorry, Rob. You were a responsible adult till you got on this show, man.
He was. You know what? We talked about this a few weeks ago, and I said I've known Rob for. You started. I know I keep going. You started exactly when I started at Comcast Sports, right?
September of '97.
Okay, that's when I started. It was like 2 or 3 weeks before we actually launched. And Barrett, even at that young, tender age, Rob was this mature, stoic individual who was very professional. And I was like, man, that's dude, and then I watched him as he produced Barcan shows through the years, just like he is now, organized, meticulous, about everything. And then all of a sudden, he was asked to do a show in the latter stages of his life with the Groovy Ghoulies. Do
you guys remember it was an old PSA that they would have, the father found like a shoebox and the kid had like weed in it.
Oh, yeah.
And the father confronts him and he says, I learned by watching you. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I learned by watching you two.
Now, Rob, I got to ask you
fault.
this. I got to ask you this, Rob, because you've done radio a certain way your whole career, right?
Yes.
Because we have taken you to a deeper, darker side than you ever thought you could go.
Yes.
Have you started to implement some of those attributes to your radio personality now?
Yes. You
have.
I have incorporated that.
So we have infected you. We have accomplished our mission, Barrett.
Give me a hug. Give me a hug.
We have infected Rob.
Bro, I listen to him now because every time I turn around, he's on. And I'm listening to him, and I'm like, who is this guy on the radio now?
I know.
Who is he?
I know, man. Hey, if you're not growing, you're going the wrong way, man.
Right.
You guys helped me grow, and you know who else?
In the wrong way.
No, in the right way. Speaking of the right, not the wrong way, I am thrilled to talk to our next guest. We spoke to him a while back. I think it was time.
TD.
He does an amazing job covering the Titans. ESPN NFL Nation reporter for the Titans. You can follow him on Twitter at @TDavenport_NFL. My man, Teron Davenport. What's up, Teron? How you doing, man?
What's going on, man? I hope you guys like the scenery. You're my people, so I had to give you,
This backdrop. This is real too.
Nissan Stadium. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, let me say this, man. This dude here, ever since I've known him, the sharpest dressed ESPN.com writer on the planet.
Look at him. He makes a hoodie look good.
The man's shoelaces even match his outfit, man. Probably matching undergarments and all this.
By the way, that is a professional shot right there.
Got the,
look, what I tell you.
Coordinate. You got to do it.
I'm serious, man. Props. You had the stadium almost centered perfectly.
Yes,
behind
I'm
you,
impressed.
Man. It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bro, that's
you know what that's from? You know what that's from? Shooting all those stand-ups by himself. He's become an expert.
You already know. That's it. One man gang.
I used to watch this dude stand out on the field, man, do his stand-ups, knock it out in one take, and then I see how he was dressed, and I go to practice, and I look at me like this. I can't compete. Dude had a different pair of sneakers on every day.
Yeah, bro. I remember we first did Breakfast on Broad, and that's when I really, really got tight. And then we started doing a podcast together, me and TD. And I can remember him coming in clean as the Board of Health, man. I mean, from the bow ties to the vest and everything.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey man, I gotta ask you one quick question. All right, this is just us boys talking. Okay, we just talking.
All right, just the homies.
Yeah, just the homies, man. Do you have like matching sets, pajamas and stuff? Do you coordinate your pajamas when you go to bed at night?
No, man. I don't match that up. I just look. I'm in the boxers. That's it, man. That's so you're not matching everything up that way.
Oh my God! All right, Teron. Well, man, so many things to get into, and I can't wait to get your take on the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and everything that's going on with them too. But let's start with this Titans team because they are coming off a loss, and the last couple games it hasn't necessarily been peak Derrick Henry in terms of running the ball. What are teams doing a little bit differently, or is it just the ebb and the flow of the season? Sometimes you're not going to be ripping off $150 every single time. What did maybe the Bengals do last week that could be a blueprint for the Eagles?
Yeah, you would like to think that it's just the ebb and flow of the season, but it's a copycat league. 3 weeks ago, the Broncos, what they did, they came here to Nissan Stadium, bare front. They're covering that center guard trio right there, and you got the linebackers stacked behind it. And what they're doing is just filling all the gaps. And when you have the zone blocking scheme, you're not blocking man. Barry, you could speak to this. You're not blocking a man. You're blocking zones and space and gaps. And so when those gaps are being controlled by a guy like a DJ Reader last week against the Bengals, and it allows the linebackers to come in and get free shots, and that's what you're seeing. But then the Bengals specifically, what they did last week, they incorporated the nickel blitz, where they had Mike Hilton, who is underrated as a nickel corner. He's one of the best in my opinion, but he was coming off that edge and he's tackling Derrick Henry behind the line of scrimmage. And Henry's that type of back where he needs to get that momentum going towards the line. Yeah. And that's what he always does. But when you're getting hit, and a quick stat for you, he was getting hit 0.8 yards after he got the football. And it's just hard for any back. I don't care, Walter Payton, Jim Brown, you name it, they're not going to have success getting hit that quickly.
Yeah, you start and stop is really a problem when you have a guy that big, and
right.
They made him start and stop, and that's really how you can stop him. As far as especially with that Navajo front. Navajo, we call it bear front. We call it when you have covered at center and both guards up with big guys. Well, we just got Sue, we got Lindell Joseph, and oh by the way, we got our rookie coming in, Jordan Davis coming in. I believe he plays. That's a lot of beef up front. Only thing is, excuse me, when I watched Cincinnati and I broke down the film with them, they were bringing that blitzer from the outside. I don't see Gannon as doing that. Do you think that will hamper, their ability to stop the run?
Yeah, it will, because I have to check the stat sheet specifically, but I mean, off the top, I remember like 5 times Mike Hilton tackled Henry behind the line of scrimmage. So, when that's happening, it makes it a lot easier for the other guys to come up and make plays too. But I mean, Hilton, he was getting solo tackles. So that was a big factor. And the Bengals, they actually played Henry better than, the Packers did the week before and the Broncos did the week before that. So that was a huge part of it.
Hey, Teron, what do we make on the outside looking in of Tannehill? One game he's throwing like a Hall of Famer. I mean, throwing lasers. Next game it's like inconsistent. He's responsible for the success they've had in a lot of ways, but he's also been the cause of some of their issues offensively as well. So, what do we make of him?
Yeah, I think Tannehill he's the ultimate game manager in my book, and I don't say that from a bad context. I say it from he executes the offense. He goes where he needs to go with the football. He doesn't, at least this year, as opposed to last year, he's not turning the football over. And you ask him to make 1 or 2 plays to help you win the game, and that's what he's been doing. And I think really one of the things that I've seen over the last couple of weeks, which coincidentally happened to be his best passing games, he's an arrogant quarterback again. Like he feels like he can fit the ball into places where he probably shouldn't, but he's getting it in there. And then also he's giving his guys a chance to make a play. And I think that's really important. You look at the Bengals game, right? They go play action. It's Traylon Burks one-on-one with a rookie corner out of Nebraska, and he's covered. I mean, statistically, it was 0.5 yards of separation. But Tannehill said, you know what? YOLO. You only live once. And he chucked that thing up there, and Burks went up and got it. And I think that's what you have to see from him. That's what he has to continue to do, because like teams are putting the whole city in the box to stop Derrick Henry. So you got those one-on-one matchups on the outside. And, as a receiver, if you're worth your value in it, you're not going to allow a team to go one-on-one. It's me and you, and you know what? It ain't going to be me. That's how you look at it, and that's what's starting to happen with Traylon Burks.
Hey, Teron, we were talking about this, I think it was yesterday. Maybe they're not at the most accomplished group. Man, there's some size at that receiver position. Yeah. They got some big dudes, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 6'2", 6'3", and we know how big Burks is, et cetera. How much of an advantage is that, and how much are those guys starting to come in their own a little bit? We know there's the veteran there with Woods, but the younger guys.
Yeah, I think, when you look at Nick Westbrook and Kenny, you look at Cody Hollister, these are our bigger receivers. Westbrook and Kenny specifically, he's a guy that they like to use across the middle, on digs and those type of intermediate routes. I don't think they're really a threat, though. Robert Woods is starting to come into his own. That you see the timing between Tannehill and Woods, especially on third downs, that's coming into play. But the main factor, in my opinion, is Burks. He's a bigger receiver, and he has that. what they call combat catch ability, where he's going to make those contested catches. So that's the big one. But another guy that you have to watch out for is Chigakonkwo, the tight end out of Maryland. He's a big play receiver, and he's a guy. He's averaging over 20 yards a catch.
Quick, too fast.
Yeah, what are we to make of Jeffrey Simmons' status right now? They have a listed as questionable. Two questions in one. Will he play, number one, and what makes him so effective for a dude that's 6'4", 305 coming off the edge the way he does?
Yeah. Simmons is going to play. Rest assured, he's going to play.
That's a bad
he didn't
man.
practice. Yeah, he is a bad man. He didn't practice yesterday, but he'll probably do some stuff today. We'll see in a half hour or so. But I think when you look at Simmons, the thing that makes him so good, and I told him, I remember the first time I met him, I told him, I said, man, you remind me of Fletcher Cox, man, because that ability that he has to be so big, but also so quick and swift on his feet, and one of the things I remember 2016, we're going to go back. The Steelers came to Philly, and Antonio Brown caught a screen, and he was on this side of the field. He ran to this side. You know who tackled him? Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
Oh,
right. You go back to week 4 this year against the Commanders. Terry McLaurin, he caught a pass. He's 25 yards down the field. You know who caught him? Jeffrey Simmons. So for me, it's that hustle that these guys have. It's also the quickness, and that dude is brutally strong. I watched him fold Quentin Nelson up. That's the guard everybody talks highly of. He folded him up like a church banquet chair, man. And and he does that consistently. So I love to see that. So it's the strength, the power, the speed, all of that, and then the effort too.
Well, he's built differently. He's got big hips, wide hips, I mean, my mom used to call them, childbearing hips. Well, he's got them type of hips, you know what I'm saying? Big hips, he got a low center and grab big hips. So he could definitely, push guys off the ball. But when you look at that, those guys are great against stopping a Bud Dupree. They get upfield, they get penetration. They're known to stop the run, but they kind of lack in the secondary. They're ranked 29th as far as passing in the secondary. We do have some pretty good receivers. And one guy in particular, your boy, is going to come back, and he wants to make sure that he avenges his unceremoniously departure from the Titans organization.
Yeah, young AJ, man, he wants to get off, and I'm sure that Sirianni and the crew, they're going to do some things to get him open. And you're right, the secondary, it does leave some to be desired. You got third-year corner Christian Fulton, who is, he shows signs of being a lockdown guy, but then, you'll see him give up a 29-yard pass to T. Higgins like he did last week, or a touchdown to Christian Watson the week before. So it's almost like sometimes he gets bored out there, and that's something he has to fix. You look at Roger McCreary, a very feisty corner. I told him at the combine, I said, man, we were on the same team in practice. We'll fight every day. Because he's one of those type of corners that's always in your pocket, always just doing stuff that you just hate as a receiver. So you got him, but I don't think they match up well against A.J. Brown. And then, Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins, the speed and vertical ability that they have. It's going to be a tough day. Kevin Byard is really going to have to be over top and help out. And I think really, it's all about stopping A.J. from getting those yards after the catch.
Teron, how about, I know you're keeping a close eye on the Eagles running attack and what they've been able to do. The Titans coming here as a really good team against the run. It's push comes to shove. Who do you think has the advantage here? And could the Eagles be able to be maybe not quite as successful as they were last week, but successful on the ground against a team that's the third best in the league against the run? Yeah,
I think the Eagles do have the advantage, and it's all because of Jalen Hurts, man. What he's able to do, on designed runs. You look at, how they go empty and go quarterback draw, and the things that they do to open up the middle of the field with the receivers running out breaking routes. He's a perfect fit for what they want to do on offense, and then even when it's not a design run, right? They're rushing the passer, and he likes to step up in the pocket, have guys go by him, and then he finds, those lanes to run. And it's 3rd and 13, and everything is covered really well, but he scoops 14 yards and steps out of bounds. The next thing you know, it's like, we did everything right. He got the first down, and we didn't even get to hit him. And that's the thing that's frustrating for a defense. So I definitely think that the advantage is for the Eagles. And you could go back, you look at the Bengals game, what Joe Burrow was able to do as far as scrambling to run, but also scrambling to pass. And then in addition to that, you look at the Chiefs game, they went ahead. They scored the go-ahead touchdown on Patrick Mahomes scrambling. Contain wasn't there on the outside, and he was able to break that, and he scored the go-ahead touchdown.
How does this team gravitate around the head coach? Is he highly respected?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
A huge amount of respect that everybody has for Mike Vrabel. And it's the thing is with him, one of the things he said, we were talking about A.J. Brown when he had he came out and said that, he had considered, committing suicide. And one of the things that Coach Vrabel said was, it's important in this building that when we ask you how you're doing, we do it authentically and we sit there and we listen. So when you're making those authentic, emotional deposits, it really sets in. And he's a guy that remembers details. He met one of my daughters 3 years ago, and he's still, hey, man, how's your daughter, Devin? You know what I mean? Those type of things are reason why players will want to play for him. And then just the fact that he always has them prepared. You look at the small margins where they try to be able to gain victories, and that's something that, players are all about how you going to make me better, how you going to put me in a position to win, and he does that.
Looking at the defensive side of the ball, man, is Archie playing?
Probably not. Yeah, he's probably not playing, and that's a hurtful thing for that front.
Huge,
We talk about Simmons, but I think he's probably been the most consistent player for them over the last year and a half. And then you look at some of the things, the twists and stunts and things they do up front. A lot of times he's that trigger guy where he shoots and they loop around him. And it's funny because he's supposed to be the sacrificial lamb, on that game. But here it is, he'll shoot and he's blowing up the tackle. So he's getting back there too, in addition to Mario Edwards or Dupree or whoever is looping inside. So it's going to be tough not having him for them. But, they're just going to have to figure it out.
Teron, how about the Jim Schwartz influence? We talk about that a lot here, but is there do we make too much of that? I mean, I know he knows some of these players. There's been turnover for sure since he's been here, but is that a factor in your estimation?
As far as like familiarity with the guys there?
And maybe, just, hey, tendencies for this guy, and he might know some guys on the offensive side too, the offensive line, what they like to do, what their weaknesses are. For people who don't know, Jim's a senior defensive consultant with the Titans.
Right. Yeah, I mean, familiarity is good, but, I can know what Fletcher Cox wants to do. It's going to be tough to stop it. You know what I mean? I can know, that they're going to pull Kelsey on certain, runs and things like that, but you still got to stop it. So I think it's always good to have a little bit of familiarity, but you still, you have to go out and execute. So I don't really think that he'll have much of an influence as far as his familiarity with the Eagles. But I will say he's had a big influence with the guys in Nashville. And just as far as they used to be very multiple with their front, a lot of 3-4 looks, they'll do that. But a lot of times you're seeing 4 and 5 guys hand in the dirt. And that's, the Jim Schwartz influence.
So what do the Titans have to do if they're going to have a chance to win in Philadelphia?
I think really it's that first drive is monumental. You know what I mean? Whether it's on offense or defense. If they're on defense, they got to get a 3 and out or a stop. And then they have to come back, and it's got to be a healthy dose of Derrick Henry. You're going to have to feed him. And I always say this Titans team, they're like, back in the day when you had your kids, you had to pack and play, right? Like the little, you pack it up and you go, you set it up, and it was always travel friendly. Their form of play is travel friendly because they stop the run and they run the football well. And I think that's always going to be able to put them in a hostile situation and take the crowd out of the game. And that's what you have to do. And I watched them do that in New England in the playoff game and then in Baltimore the week after. And it was all Derrick Henry and the defense. So that's what they have to do. They have to get Derrick Henry going, play action off of it, catch the secondary sleeping. You got Reed Blankenship as opposed to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Maybe, they could be a blow up in coverage and a guy is open down the field and you take advantage of it.
Yeah, I got news for you. Eagles not a very good tackling defense.
Yeah, I mean, That's never good when you're facing Derrick Henry. I'll tell you that much.
Let me ask you this. Give me their mindset. Give me what they're thinking at a locker room. Are they the team that you saw last year that won 12 games last year? Or are they this team that, that 7-win team that they are right now? What type of mindset are they in there?
Yeah, they're the team that won 12 games last year. But the thing is, I think the level of desperation is a little bit different for them this year. Just as far as there's an understanding that, there's a window and they have to win. And I mean, they're not a team that really looks to the future. They take a game by game, week by week approach. But I think there is a true understanding that, there could be some turnover if they don't get done what they need to get done this year.
Very recently, A.J. Brown, when he was asked about his time in Tennessee, he said, I know the people hate me there. He said, part of the fault was mine. So from what you know, how much of it was the organization fumbling the situation, and how much of it was an A.J. Adding to the situation that led to his departure?
Yeah, they always say there's two sides to every story. And it's interesting because I got firsthand both sides. I talked to AJ. I called him that night, just to tell him that I hated to see him go. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we talked about the contract, and he said all he wanted was 22 annually, and they only went up to 20, and it was full of incentives. It was 16, and then the rest was incentives, and that just wasn't going to get it for him, especially after seeing Christian Kirk sign for 17 a year. From the Titans' perspective, there was a point where after that Christian Kirk thing came out, they had some back and forth. He submitted, Tory Dandy submitted an offer. I think it was in the $25 million range. The Titans said no. He submitted another one, $29 million with $80 million guaranteed. And the Titans were like, and then that's when communication was cut off. Rob Moore, his receiver coach, that communication was cut off. No, nothing was there. And then you had the trade request. And from then, they just started to look at, okay, there's going to be a likelihood that he's going to be dealt, and they had some guys. They had already liked Treylon Burks, even with AJ being there, and they had some guys, Burks, Christian Watson, he was another one they looked at. And they're like, well, if these guys are on the board, this is the deal that could happen. And it came out of nowhere, to everyone not in AJ's camp and in the Titans' immediate camp. And you saw Mike Vrabel, he had to get up and walk away. He had to walk that one off, and I know that losing AJ hurt his feelings, but it's a business.
Do you say, just to kind of stay on this theme for a second, Teron, you know him very well. It's one thing to be motivated. It's another thing to maybe go overboard with it where you're just trying to do too much. Do you think he'll stay within himself in this game?
Who, AJ?
Yeah.
No.
No.
What? I know of games that AJ had where there were emotional things going on. Yeah. And he struggled a bit.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's going to struggle here in this game, but I know in the past it's happened. But I think he's going to have a big game, honestly. Okay. I don't think that he's going to, control those emotions. I think those emotions are going to come out, and you're going to see it in his play.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. Well, who wins? Who wins, Teron?
Oh,
put you on the spot.
That's a tough one, man. You're going to have somebody try to push me off this bridge, man, with this prediction, but it's all good. Listen, I would say this, that the Titans haven't allowed a team to score more than 20 points in 8 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles do that. I think they win 23-20. That's the prediction there. I think the Eagles win 23-20.
Okay. One more.
Go ahead, man.
I know A.J. Brown is not a guy that you've seen turn the ball over, but he's had a case of the turnovers the past 2 weeks. Was it necessarily how he was feeling, or is that something that that you've seen in him before?
No, I haven't really seen him fumble the ball like that, especially in back-to-back weeks. I know the one last week, it was just that sometimes he's a guy where you look at the Ravens game a couple years ago, he caught a pass like 6 yards, about 8 yards out of the end zone. And, you know, Patrick Queen went to tackle him. He took him along. He said, "Oh, Marcus Peters, you paid your bus fare. Come on, you're going to take this ride too." And then a few other Ravens took the ride, and he carried them into the end zone. He's a guy that's not going to quit on a play. Sometimes you got to understand the journey's over, and you got to go down. And I think, you know, that fumble last week, that's what that was. It was just fighting to get extra yards, and everybody's ripping at it, and he fumbled. But I don't think it's something that he'll do, you know, habitually. It isn't something that he does.
Hey, what's the best barbecue place in Nashville?
Oh, that's a good one. I like Edley's right now. Edley's barbecue is my favorite one. I go there, I get the burnt ends when they have them. They always run out, you know. But otherwise, I'm getting that brisket, man. You know, let's have it.
Nothing like that brisket, bro.
That's right.
Hey, on Friday, man. I'll see you on Friday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got to ask you,
on
coming
Friday.
back to town, Teron, favorite cheesesteak place? While we're
Oh man, that's another good one. I like Max's, man. You know, Max's is good. Jim, I don't think Jim's is up and running.
It burned down, yeah. Hopefully they're going to be back up soon. I'm with you. I'm a big Jim.
I like other than, you know, the corner poppy spots. You know what I mean? Those are always good too.
Hey, Teron, make sure you make Barry pay, man. Whatever you do, make Barry pay.
I got my dog. Yeah.
You ain't never told me that.
Yeah.
You got the company. You have the company.
I'm trying to come get some of that D Gun barbecue. That's what I want.
Good luck with that, Teron.
Me too. Yeah.
Good luck penetrating that fortress. That is going to be a challenge.
Give me something off that green egg.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly right. Teron, hey, man, thanks for a couple minutes. Appreciate the effort with the shot.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it almost looks fake. It's so good, man. Awesome shot. And we appreciate your time, man. Keep up the good work. Yeah.
Yes, sir. You guys got it, man.
All right. That's Teron Davenport. Great dude, man. Follow him on Twitter at @TDavenport_NFL. Of course, ESPN.com. He is the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Titans. Always, everything he does with the utmost effort. His writing, his stand-ups. If he's doing something with us, I mean, he's a pro's pro, man.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Interesting insight there on the Titans too. It's going to be a good game. This is going to be a fun, physical game.
Fight it out. This is going to be the games that we dream about, man. Like, there's going to be a lot of ebb and flow in this game. A lot of physical football. These are the games that I love. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to roll my sleeves up and just go out there. That's exactly what this game. This will equate to back when I played the game.
Yes.
When you got Ricky Waters going against Emmitt Smith. You know, that's the type of game that we're gonna have, man. And I can't wait, bro. I cannot wait.
You put brass knuckles under your taped up hands.
Yeah.
You put that metal piece in your elbow pad. You do whatever you got to do.
Even the coaches.
Yeah.
Even the coaches. Sirianni's a scrappy dude. Now you got Vrabel. I hated Vrabel. I hated playing against Vrabel.
Coaches carrying blades.
Yeah. You got, blades in his teeth, you know what I'm saying? Take out.
Yeah, man. The thing that caught my eye was when Teron said they haven't given up more than 20 points in 8 consecutive games. Yeah. That is going to be interesting.
That's an eye-opener. And also just how much the Eagles use that blueprint from the Bengals and what teams have been doing lately against Derrick Henry, too.
It's a copycat league. It's a copycat league,
Yeah,
100%.
100%. You best believe that, just like you said, all those guys were watching film on how they've been knocking balls out and creating turnovers from more so knocking balls out than anything. You best believe that they're working on that right now. They're Peanut Tillman everything right now.
Yep.
Barrett, if you were the Eagles, would you go exclusive 5-man front against them?
Yes.
But we know they're not going to do it. And that's why I ask you that.
Well,
because
you can have variations with it though, Derek. And this is what pisses me off, because you can have a 5-man front that's a past 5-man front also.
Right.
Like just like you have them big hogs up front, you could put in Joseph, Sue, and Davis, but you can also put in Brandon Graham right there, Fletcher Cox at the nose, and put what's his name? Sweat right there at the 3 technique. Now you got guys that can pass rush with the guys on the outside being, whoever you're gonna put, with man, I'll just say Hassan Reddick. I'm not even gonna go with the other guy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Until he does something, he'll be a name we're not even gonna say, bro.
Right.
But you could. That's a pass.
Until he does something.
Right. That's a pass rushing defense right there. But it's just a 5-man front. Can you imagine having games running stunts from that those three guys in the middle with Fletcher Cox looping around, or you got BG, you know what I'm saying, penetrating and somebody going around him like that. They can do. You can just like you can stop the run with that. Yeah. You can also pass rush with it, and a lot of the times that's what we saw. What teams did when I was playing there. Mm-hmm. You had that 3-man front because what it does to your offensive line, it makes you go man on man. You can't slide the line now.
Right.
So when I say that you can't slide the line, usually you could just go, all right, we're going to slide the line this way. But if you got guys out there that can rush the passer and you got Josh Sweat on one side, BG, Fletcher Cox in the middle, but then on the outside, rushing the passer, you got guys like Hassan Reddick on one side, and yeah, man. All right, I'll say it. Robert Quinn. Okay, I'll say it.
Well, look, I mean, he's due. Let's put it that way. He's due.
Who'd you say?
I know, man. He ain't showed up, so I'm hard pressed. But you can't slide. You can't slide that line.
I'm on record. He gets a sack this week.
Oh, there we go.
Robert Quinn gets a sack. Mark it down.
This week?
Yep, 12:36 on Thursday. I called it.
Well, you know, but see, look, you have to man up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, man up means it's going to be one-on-one blocking with all the offensive linemen. Now, you're going to tell me all 5 guys can block all 5 of our guys one-on-one? No. There's no way that a center can snap and block Fletcher Cox one-on-one. There's no way on God's green earth he can do that because he has had his head downward, snap it, and get both hands up to block Fletcher Cox. It's just not happening. It's not. Or a guy blocking, Brandon Graham at a 3 technique. What those dudes do, man, is they're athletes. So when you have a defensive end playing 3 technique, he's gonna make that offensive guard move his feet. Right. So he's got to set almost like a tackle, and he's not used to setting in all that space right there. So it's easier to rush a guy that you make him move their feet, a guard who's not necessarily the better athlete. Put it like this. They're not the better athletes of the offensive line. Usually put the better athletes at the tackle position because they have a lot of space to block. But when you make these guards block the same space also, it's really tough. And plus you can't help the center either. That's a hard front to block, man. Hard.
Bear, what you just said, you said so eloquently and so decisively. And I'm with you 100%. I know, and as I'm sitting here listening to you talk, every word coming out of your mouth, I'm saying, you know what Bear's saying is true, and it sounds so simple. He ain't doing it. And then I look at the chat, and Dan Cilio with a five-man front. You have one less dude in the secondary. JG will never do that. And I'm saying he read my mind because you know Jonathan Gannon is not going to do it.
So to you and Big Seals, I was going, wah, 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 wah.
No, I'm listening to everything you say, and what your answer, what the answer you gave when I asked you the question is exactly what I expected to hear from you. But as you're talking, I'm saying it makes so much sense. Jack Gannon ain't doing that. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen that way. Right. Didn't he watch what Cincinnati just did? He's not going to do what Cincinnati just did. Cincinnati had like 12 men in the box. Had 12 men on the box trying to stop Derrick Henry.
So we got better DBs than they do.
Huh? Yes.
Guys, we got better DBs than they do. Yes. Our guys can go out there and cover those guys man on man.
Yeah, it's not like you cover the Bengals receivers. Yes. It's not like you cover the Bengals receivers.
Yeah. I got you. All right. Good segment there.
Torch that bandwagon.
Hey, points, baby. It's all about the points, D-Gun. You hater. All right, so we will come back. We'll continue the Eagles discussion. There's been some debate. The Eagles' passing game has fallen off of late, and we'll dive into that when we come back. We'll get a little bit more into that. We'll talk about some of the defense, and we're going to look at the NFC playoff picture in a little bit. A little later in our NFL segment, we'll do our NFC power rankings. 5 teams that are on the outside looking in right now that could sneak into the playoffs, and we'll also get into the top 5 running backs since they will be taking on Derrick Henry as well.
That was pretty hard. No, that was pretty hard, man.
I know.
The running backs
down to 5.
It was not easy. Yeah.
Now what you mean the running backs?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now we'll preface it by saying this. When I give my 5 running backs, I'm not basing it on the statistics that we look at right now. For me, it's my style of runners. Okay. I'm basing it on the 5 runners I like in the game today.
All right. Good. Okay. That's what it's all about. Yeah, it's subjective, man. It's your taste, your preference. All right, we'll do that when we get back. Derek, Barrett, Rob, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because you know how difficult it can be to find the right person to trust with your hard-earned work. And I found that right person, and I want you to find the right person as well. And that's Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Again, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, if you have a small business and you're trying to set up your employee benefits, these are all the things that he can help you with. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. I also will reach out to him if I'm not understanding something, or if I've seen something that I think may be a good direction to go. And he is a great sounding board. He's great setting you up and taking you into the right direction for whatever you need. 610-996-4751. That's how you reach him. Again, 610-996-4751. You could email him as well. Murray, Murray.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted, revered,
Appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate, honest,
and fair.
He is extremely dedicated,
Motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
All right, we're back. We are Sports Take. We are hanging out with you on this Thursday, first day of December. Yes, hard to fathom, but that's where we are at this point, getting you set for the Eagles and the Titans coming up on Sunday at 1:00. All right. Elliot Short-Parks had an interesting from WIP, interesting tweet that he threw out there a couple days ago. And thought we kind of dig into this a little bit with regarding the Eagles passing offense specifically. But let me just give you the overall numbers. They're third in scoring at 27.5. They are third in rushing at 162.5 per game. And they're 17th in passing overall, at 219.8. So that's kind of the baseline without getting into all the other stats right now. But if you look at the first 7 games, they passed for 200 on average for 245 yards per game which was 8th best in the NFL, and they were scoring 32 per game during that stretch. Last 4, 174 yards in passing, which is 31st in the league, and they're scoring 26.7. So they're down about 6 points per game. Jalen Hurts, first 7 games, 257 yards passing per game. Last 4, 190. Rushing first 7 games, 43.2. Last 4, 73.5 rushing. I want to just kind of give you that baseline. To me, and you know where I always stand, guys. I don't care how you're getting it done on the ground or in the air. Just score. Just score, baby. And they're third in scoring.
Right.
But are we concerned here that it's trending in the wrong direction if you were in a game where you're going to have to throw yourself back into it, for example? Barrett, I know you have strong thoughts on this, so we'll start with you.
First off, the way that this team has been running the offense, besides last week and the end of the game against the Colts, they went to a passing offense. There was more drop back passes. Why? Because they wanted to protect Jalen Hurts. They thought that'd be the best thing for the best thing for this team is to protect him and not have him do so many things with his legs, which is totally contrary to how you win games when you know that's your greatest asset that your quarterback brings. He gives you the autonomy to give you a different look. When you defend Jalen Hurts in this offense, you're defending all 11 defenders. All 11 guys on the offensive side of the ball. When you play against guys like, for instance, like Matty Ice, you're only defending 10 guys. He's not a threat to run or do anything. And that's the biggest thing. We were throwing the ball because we were trying to protect Jalen. So in turn, we were still scoring efficiently. Just like, if you look at the time possession when we played against Washington, we had 6 minutes, 11 seconds in the first half. Why? We went down and scored. We were leading the game by 14 points because we were scoring efficiently through the air. He can throw the ball through the air. He can do it. But that's not how you win right now in the NFL. You win by keeping the opposing offense off the field. You keep them off the field. Teams started playing takeaway. The way you stop this offense is to keep them off the field. And that's exactly what teams started doing. Running the balls. It started with the Titans. With the Texans. Running the ball, keeping Jalen Hurts and his offense off the field. You run the ball, that puts the time possession in your hands. It keeps your offense off the field. That's what we were doing. That's why we were so effective. We were running the ball in the first half of the season and keeping the opposing offense off the field, which led to us scoring more, yes, but also the time possession kept us in the driver's seat because now it puts an earnest on that other opposing offense like, all right, we got to hurry up and score. That's basically what I feel has been going on. Now teams are playing keep away from us, and it's really hurting us because we were usually the aggressors as far as being in the time possession category.
Well, Barrett, you mentioned a valid point. A thing that caught my ear when you were talking is they were throwing more because they were trying to protect Jalen. So I look at the numbers. In the 4 games leading up to the previous 2, he ran the ball a grand total of 26 times, and they were all single-digit amount of times he was running, whether it was by design or whether it was out of necessity. The last 2 games, he's tucked and run the ball 33 times.
And what's our record with those games?
No, I'm just saying. We're talking about keeping that quarterback upright. I'm not even talking about the record because you get to the record however you get to the record.
Right.
I'm just talking about in terms of protecting your quarterback. I don't even want to say protect him from himself, but protecting your quarterback to make sure he's exactly where you want him to be in January, which is upright and breathing. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think that's the most important thing. So how do you balance that? Is there balance, or do we go by what we talk about all the time? Each game is a different scenario, and you do what you do out of necessity.
Derek, I think it just to Barrett, what Barrett was laying out there. I think I don't think they went into the game thinking he was going to run 17 times. Whatever.
I know that. That.
So I think they're cognizant of we can't run the guy 1,000 times. Naturally, something could happen if you do that. But I think you got to win a game any way you win a game.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes it just sort of flows that way. I think, Barrett, you made a good point about what the other teams are doing, and I think all that's valid, man. I really do. You're right. When you needed to see him in a situation where, and it was a combo, I think it was his arm and his legs in the Colts game. He made a lot of big passes. People forget about that. They don't even give any props for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's there. I think he's capable of doing it, but I think they're playing to what his strength is. Like if you're asking me, okay, if you had to pick one or the other, what does he do better? I think he's a better runner right now. It doesn't mean he hasn't improved a ton as a passer, because he has improved a ton as a passer. I think he is that guy.
Right. But the Steeler game.
Steeler game is a good example. Yeah. But I think that, right now they're leaning a little bit more heavily on what he does best. But I'll put it to you this way. This week, that Titans team does not defend the pass well at all. I think you're going to see a big passing game from Jalen.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And if we don't, then maybe you have reason for a little bit of concern. If AJ shut down or Devontae shut down or whatever, then I think it's more reason for alarm than what you have right now.
If you're right, and if they go out there with the intention of throwing the ball, I can understand it. But just know that there's a counter to that. And that's exactly what it really feeds into what the Titans do. They want to drag it out, run the ball, keep the time possession on their side, keep that other quarterback off the field, keeps you from scoring. And I don't want to be in a situation where we feel like it's a dire need for us to push the ball on the field and score every time like we had to do against the Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we got caught up in the wrong side of the stick as far as time possession. They're going to go in with that game, and we already know they're going to go in with that game time.
Mm-hmm.
We have to reverse it, though. We have to make them think that, time is running out on them as opposed to doing to us. We have to make it so, all right, he's not effective because he's not going to catch. Now, I will tell you this. You can best believe that Henry's going to be catching those little flare passes that they gave A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
And looked like he was running the ball up. They were actually passing to him. And he was running. It was like a long handoff. Now, guys start making business decisions. We got a big 250-pound, 6'3" running back out there going downhill, man.
Hey, Barry, if you were 6 foot 205 and you got to make a tackle on that dude in open space, what you doing? What you doing, man?
Look, if I had a white flag.
Look at
I told you what I'm doing. My hamstring. Ooh. Ooh.
I ain't lying to you, man. I try. You know what? Just to say I did it, I would try to hit him one time, and after I felt the impact of my spine tingling, I'd lay there on the ground twitching, and foam be coming out of my mouth, and I'd have to come out and get me on the cart. I'm done for the day.
I'm faking a hammy, or I'm doing the dive at his shins move, and just hope I can chop him.
Right.
Rob doing
then he jumps right over you.
I know. I get hurdled, and it's the worst.
ESPN moment.
Yeah.
Rob doing the gritty flop.
Yeah, exactly. Man, live to see another day is my yeah, look, it's going to be here. I think it's going to be really a great test for two reasons. One, what's the run defense going to look like against Derrick Henry, and what are they going to be able to do in the air? Because so many people are on this thing now that they don't pass the ball well enough, or they haven't exactly lately, against a pass defense that's, frankly bad. I mean, the Titans' numbers in most categories are good. They're not good as far as their passing. They're, like I said with Tehran, they're 31st in the league. They give up 266 yards in the air. So, and he told you, their secondary it's okay. It's young, and guys are bored. I don't know how somebody's bored, but whatever. But you should be able to take advantage of that.
I believe they will. I do believe they will. I just know that when I'm looking at that team, I don't see a confident team like that. That's why I asked Tehran about that today. I don't see the same confident team that I saw last year when they won 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I still see a team trying to find its way. And we need to make sure that we keep them from finding their way this game. By beating this Eagles team, it would make them probably the most confident team in the AFC. Even more so confident than, even the Chiefs. Because now we beat the best team. Now we feel as though we're the best team. And I bet you they take that frame of mind going into the rest of the season. But we have to erase that. We have to no, you don't belong on the same field. I need to have them have the same – I need to have them look at, at the Eagles like, all right, we're almost untouchable. And then we in turn look at them like, all right, Titans, you guys are the middle of the pack type of team. We have to put that on them. You guys are middle of the pack type of team. We're the upper echelon. You're middle of the pack. And it's almost, you almost have to have that arrogance about yourself when you're playing against them. Just, letting them know. I know what it is to have an attitude like that, because when I was with the Steelers, bro, I'm telling you, man, when we won that Super Bowl, even the year before, we would be on the field and already know we won the game. We'd be looking in guys' eyes like, all right, it's gonna be a long day for you, son. A long day for you. You don't deserve to be on the same field with us. And if the Eagles start getting that little, that little attitude about them, that edge about them, it could bode well for us going into the future.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think when you have Jalen as your quarterback, there's a confidence there. I'm not going to say he's got swag. I mean, there's a confidence for sure. I think what again, this gets back to, you're talking about a 10-1 team, and we're picking everything apart. It's just kind of the nature of the beast, right? But there's so many things that they do well that it's human nature a little bit to be concerned about things and I gotta look at that or whatever. But they figured out a way to win 10 out of 11 games, which should tell you something about this.
Absolutely.
But the thing that also I want to throw in there when it comes to the passing and what it's looked like the last couple of games, they are missing Dallas Goedert. And I'm not saying you should fall off the face of the earth when that happens, but that's a big loss. And that's going to change some of your statistics, at least, because you're losing a Pro Bowl tight end. And nobody stepped up. It's not like when Jordan Davis went down and they brought in Sue and Joseph, guys stepped up immediately. Stahl hasn't stepped up. Calcaterra hasn't stepped up. Tyree Jackson hasn't stepped up. Maybe they will, right? But they haven't so far. So that's an area where they could have ill afford to lose that guy, and they lost him. So I think that's going to play in. I think some of it is A.J. Brown hasn't been quite himself, whether it's fumbles, whether it's a ball he could have caught that he popped up in the air, became a pick in the Washington game, and we know he was sick. So I get it to an extent, but he needs to get back to being A.J. Brown. If he's ever going to get back to being A.J. Brown, it's this game. I want to see an explosion Devontae Smith game, and I haven't seen that in a long time. So there's a lot of things that could help factor in this. And I'm not like completely letting Jalen off the hook for everything. There's some throws he needs to make, but I think for the most part, a lot of it is circumstance around him, and you're running it so well that that's going to take the bulk of your time and your effort and your attempts. Plain and simple.
They have been better than anybody else in the NFL at adapting to overcome adversity. Bottom line, that's why they're sitting there at 10-1. They can win a high-scoring game. They showed you against the Colts. They can also win the low-scoring game when everything's not going right. They have had, except for one minor blip on the radar against Washington, they have had the ability. And let's face it, to get to 10 wins, it hasn't been perfect. But then again, what team is perfect when you're trying to get to where you want to go? There's a lot of hiccups. There are hiccups that we don't even see that coaches and players look at on film. They're like, man, we just got away with one. We got away with one here. But the bottom line is they're sitting at the king of the hill right now. They're at the top of the hill, and everybody else is trying to knock them off.
Yeah. And look, keep in mind for this game, you have a Tennessee team coming off a loss.
Absolutely.
And that's going to play into this thing too. It was interesting when Teron was talking about Tannehill getting, what do you say, a little cocky or whatever he ended up saying about him. Like, he's feeling himself a little bit. I wonder if you can bait him into some mistakes, even though the Eagles secondary is a little bit down. So that'll be something to keep your eye on as well, from a defensive standpoint.
And I'm not. When you look at the best quarterbacks in the game, they're all cocky, and I'm not putting him in that category as one of the best quarterbacks in the game. But they all have that certain inner cockiness about them when things are going well, and that's what a coach wants from his quarterback. Confidence is one thing, but there's nothing wrong with having a little swag as well. Players feed off that stuff, Now, if you're a Kyler Murray or a Russell Wilson, and you're trying to push that image. They're like, man, sit your butt down somewhere. Look at our numbers. Sit your behind down somewhere, man. Shut up. We don't want to hear nothing you have to say right now. You're one of the highest paid players in the league, and look at what you put us in. Look at the situation you put us in. And you not Russell, but Kyler. And you diamond people out. You're going to get the coach fired. You're going to get some of us fired as well. Sit your behind down somewhere. I can't hear nothing you saying right now.
Yeah, man. Look, you're right. And we can hit it now. I mean, Patrick Peterson said something I think a lot of people have been thinking for a long time. He said Kyler Murray on his podcast. He said Kyler Murray only cares about Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler shot back and said, "Hey, you got my number. You're supposed to be a mentor. whatever, paraphrasing. But, that's interesting insight for a guy who played with him for 2 years. You see it. You see the body language. You see the finger pointing. And whatever. That's their problem. My point is you don't see any of that stuff with Jalen Hurts.
No.
Jalen Hurts is a leader. And
on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. And that's huge. People kind of downplay that a little bit, but that entire team respects him. Like defense, they're all on board. So they talk about him like he's on their side of the ball. There is a difference in the locker room between the defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball. Whether people want to admit it or not, they're all teammates. But it's almost like, it's still a divided separation in locker rooms. Offensive guys are different from defensive guys. You know what I'm saying? It's just the nature of how the NFL is. You spend so much time around basically the guys in your position and the offensive side of the ball that you don't really have an opportunity throughout the day really to intermingle. You have lunch, but you're in meetings all day. You're on the practice field all day. You work position guys all day. You're meeting together as units. But that team really and truly believes in him and what he can do and where he can take this team. They truly believe he could take this team to the Super Bowl and win it.
Yep.
All of them per man. All 52 guys in Jalen feel as though he could take them to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl.
And that's not just, player speak. They believe in this guy. That's real. That's real.
Absolutely.
All right, let's step aside. Let's come back. I'm going to follow up on the Malcolm Jenkins stuff and the possibility of him coming back to the Eagles, something that he tweeted out that may go along the lines of what Gunnar reported. I want to get into that in the defense a little bit, positive and negative on the defensive side of the ball. We'll dig into all those kind of things when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Barrett. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We're hanging out with you on this Thursday. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration is a great resource to have if you have a home, a business, a property of yours that experiences fire, water, smoke damage, mold damage, whatever the case may be, because they're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I can tell you that from personal experience. It happened at my parents' house. Called them on a Saturday. They got right over there. They fixed the problem. They cleaned everything up. The price was reasonable. The crew was great. It was an unbelievable experience, and it was a big sigh of relief, quite frankly. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So, again, it could be any of the above. It could be water, it could be fire, it could be smoke, it could be mold remediation. Any of the above, and then some, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted,
revered,
Appreciated.
he is Action News,
He's compassionate. Honest.
and fair,
he is extremely dedicated,
motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out with us as we roll into hour number 2. We're talking a lot about the Birds, and we will continue to do so. We had Teron Davenport on a little bit earlier. If you missed any of it, you want to check it out, just go to JAKIBsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. You can check out all of our shows, all of our interviews, etc. You can also find Gun on One and Hugh Douglas being the latest edition. Correct, Gunnar?
Absolutely. Great interview, candid interview with Hugh about a lot of things. He's found a happy place. He's gone through a lot, from a first round draft pick to defensive rookie of the year, Pro Bowler, 10-year career. And then he had some embarrassing moments in his media journey along the way, and he's recovered nicely from it. And he knows he's made a lot of mistakes, and he's openly admitted that. And he's just happy where he is right now in life. And I always tease him about being a 51-year-old guy with a 4-year-old son. I'm like, dude, how does that work, man?
Bro, you got to go get neutered. That's
God bless, man.
I'm like, dude, the good thing is, hey, when he's in the 70s, at least he'll have a 24-year-old pushing him around in a wheelchair.
Yeah, great. Is that the positive there? Good. Okay.
That's what I told him. He's a D guy. He's a D guy. You still messed up, man. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but Hugh is a funny cat. I will tell you that. All right. So a couple things. So Derek, when the natural, I think, leap that Eagles fans made when C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down in looking for safety help for a guy who isn't on a roster because we're past the trade deadline, was to look to Malcolm Jenkins, right? Makes perfect sense. Yep. And I understand it, where Eagles fans are coming from. We know he had so many great years here, et cetera. But Derek, you in talking to some of your sources said, you know what, not so fast. Don't think this is going to happen. Not from what I'm hearing. Okay. Right. And interestingly enough, yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. No, I'm sorry. It was earlier today, about 4 hours ago. So 9 o'clock ish. Malcolm tweeted out, you can follow him at Malcolm Jenkins. Everyone's asking if I'm coming back. Technically, the Saints have the rights to my contract. Right. And he gives you the I don't know emoji. I don't know, Eagles fans. I know Eagles fans love a comeback story, but don't think you'll get one this time. But I meant what I said. And the last part, it was from John Clark's podcast, the Takeoff podcast, where he said, I'm still in shape. I can still play. So anyway, I think that's Malcolm's way of telling Eagles fans, like, I get it. Thank you. But ain't happening. What's your vibe off of what all that is?
I left out the part when I made the initial statement about, the Saints still having his rights. And this is my own. Let me preface it by saying this is my personal opinion. And I don't want to see out there. D Gun says this is why the Eagles are not bringing back Malcolm Jenkins. This is my personal opinion. For as phenomenal of a Swiss Army knife player that Malcolm Jenkins was, his time has come and gone with the Philadelphia Eagles. Because as good as he was, there was also the other side of Malcolm. And, power to Malcolm, and I applaud everything he stood for. Very insightful, very intelligent individual when it comes to stuff outside of football. But it does make some people a little bit uncomfortable, okay? some of the platforms he took on. You look at the chemistry makeup in this locker room right now. All you have is a locker room full of guys focused on playing football. Whatever their beliefs are, they don't talk about that stuff in this locker room, okay? And that's what the Eagles want right now. And I think Malcolm's strong views and opinions on certain topics, because there are people in the media, and I would always remember every now and then there would be a news reporter in the locker room that was there to ask Malcolm about one of his beliefs, political stance, NFL union stuff that was going on, foundation that he started, that was embroiled in controversy. And then, of course, he would wear certain shirts, or one time he wouldn't talk, and he would show you place cards about, I remember that.
Yes.
So I don't think the Eagles want that in the locker room right now. I think that would be an uncomfortable situation. For all of the knowledge and talent Malcolm could not only provide this defense, but share with other young players on that defense. The bottom line is their defense is not perfect, but it's on a 10-1 team. Statistically, it's in the top 10 in a number of categories, and the Eagles are just fine with that right now.
Okay. Barry, do you want to jump in on that one?
Malcolm could come in and play, most definitely. In fact, this would probably be the best thing for him schematically that he's coming in, if he did come in at this point. He's a box safety. He would probably be more, he wouldn't be more necessarily a cover guy that can go out there and cover the slot like he used to be able to. But I truly believe he can go out there and still cover tight ends and running backs. What I do know he can do is go up and make plays around that line of scrimmage. And this will be great for him to go out there. It would be great for him to go out there and have that opportunity to blow some things up, at the line of scrimmage, like he used to do, especially with going against Henry and Saquon. And, he'd be great in those instances. Do I think they would do it? No. And I'm not even talking about his locker room presence. I think his leadership abilities are far outweigh even anything that he would go in and talk about. I think that he would come in and they would make things very, very clear to him what his role would be. They would define his role, and he's a stand-up guy. So if they said this, and now he was going in under the assumption that he would not do that, he wouldn't do that.
Right.
He would be exactly what he said he would be. He's that stand-up type of guy. So I wouldn't worry about anything that he would say or anything he would do in a locker room. They would iron that out, and he would respect that. And his word means more to him than anything. His name means more to him than anything. So I know he wouldn't, go anything in that direction. But I will say this: the likelihood is probably not right now, because, like I said, he's still the property of the Saints.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
He's not under the contract, but they still have his rights since he retired.
With years left on his deal. So he would still be under their control to an extent. Yep. No, it makes sense. All right. I want to look at something defensively here, guys. Positives, negatives. I'm going to start with the positives. They are at 23 takeaways this year, which is the best in the NFL. They have 15 interceptions and 8 forced fumbles, which they recovered. They've given it away 10 times. Now that number's picked up the last couple of weeks, but they are still number one in turnover differential at plus 13. So that's the best in the NFL. And then keep in mind, we forget about this. They were terrible last year at getting to the quarterback, actually recording sacks and takeaways. It was a major problem for this team last year. So they've improved greatly in those areas. So there's a lot of positive here as far as the defense goes in those terms. The concerning things are kind of twofold. One, they're not a particularly good tackling team, like finishing. Two, the pass rush can be inconsistent, particularly from the guys on the edge. So while there's a lot of good, there are some things that you would like to see a little bit more consistency. I want to start with the negative part here, because I'm getting somewhere with this. But can you become a better tackling team, or is it just you're going to have to live with what this is? Barrett, your estimation.
they're still a fundamentally sound team. You know, even though the past couple of weeks, I mean, there's been things that have happened that aren't necessarily, I mean, they're like flukish. It's not like it's something that they are consistently doing. There's, you know, I'm a big, you know, excuses are tools the incompetent. You know what I'm saying? They're mountains of nothingness. They build bridges to nowhere. Those who use them sell them amount to anything. So I can't really make an excuse for why they're happening. They happened. But the reasoning, you know, we make up this. Well, he had, you know, AJ was sick, lost 8 pounds, had a, you know, blood vessel in his eye, you know, trying to fight for yards. He had a fumble. Then last week, you know, he had another fumble. You know, I'm not making any excuses for him. They got to stop, and I think they're going to work on it. In fact, I know they're going to work on it more now, and you won't see the same mistakes that you've seen before. They're going to correct those mistakes. I'm not going to make any excuse on why things happen. They happen. Let's move on. They won't happen now. We'll be back up as far as being one of the, you know, top teams as far as making those type of mistakes, you know, turnovers, things of that nature. That'll go down because that's what it has to go down, especially when you're going into December. December is actually when the playoffs start. This is where you're jockeying for position to get into the playoffs and where you're going to be at and who you're going to play in the playoffs. So it's imperative that they don't make those type of mistakes going into it now. So let's cut it off now, cut it off the head, and it won't happen anymore. But I'll make no excuse of why it happened.
Well, sorry, Barrett. Gunnar, what do you think in terms of the tackling, in terms of the little more consistency, in terms of the sacks with the edge guys?
It is something that should have been addressed. We've talked about it for weeks. We are still talking about it today. I don't want to say at this stage of a season a team is what it is when it comes to stuff like that. But until further notice, the team is what it is because we're still talking about it, and rightfully so. It's something like Barrett said, when December comes around, the mindset has to change. Because what got you to that point gets tougher and tougher as you get closer to that finish line. And the little things that you got away with before might not play in your favor down the road. So the little issues that can make you that much better do need to be addressed. To what degree they will be addressed, that won't be determined until we're able to watch each and every week from this point on to make a fair assessment in terms of what we're seeing as to what they did address and what they're still allowing to happen.
Yeah, look, I think there's things you can clean up. There's players that just have to play better, quite frankly, that they're counting on. I mean,
can you count on a guy that hasn't done anything thus far?
Like
Wait, what do you mean? Like what?
Robert Quinn, you're talking
Robert
about.
Quinn. I mean,
well, it's not just
whose name
Quinn.
will remain unsaid.
Well, you know, it's not just Robert Quinn. You know, but you're right. He's a big culprit. But you know, like I said, when they signed him, I went, you know, everybody in the tri-state region, we got Robert Quinn. Okay, and I'm sitting there going, okay,
yeah, all
right, but here's what I'm telling you that I heard. Okay, and sure enough, what I heard has been accurate so far.
But see, look, Josh Sweat had a sack.
Right.
Hassan Reddick the last 2 weeks has had a sack.
Right.
Fletcher Cox has turned his game up. You know, so he's becoming a force in the run. You know, those are all things that, you know, I'm saying that they're going in the right direction. This is where they at. You know, I'm basically saying just one guy. Even Brandon Graham had a sack. So guys are getting sacked. They're getting production now and rushing the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one right now that hasn't shown up. Everybody else is showing up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a middle linebacker right now, TJ Edwards. He has over 100 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Balling. So we have people there to make plays, and they're starting to make plays. You see the play starting to change as we're going forward.
But Barry, you bring up Fletcher Cox, and I remember earlier in the season we were talking about for a couple of weeks, where's Fletcher Cox? Then all of a sudden he had a good game. And then the next 3 or 4 games, where's Fletcher Cox? And as Barrett said, he's put together 2 games back-to-back that have been pretty good. He's made himself visible last couple of games.
Yep.
But based on what we've seen of Fletcher Cox, not just this year, but the last couple of years, I don't know what to expect from Fletcher Cox week to week.
And that's fair, Derek. Like I can't. Can I say with confidence he's going to show up this Sunday and have an impact?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, he's kind of.
You know why I say yes?
Why?
Because he's got some horses around here that's going to show him up. And Ndamukong Suh will show up. Ndamukong Suh will be there. He doesn't care about money.
Right.
He doesn't care about anything but whooping who's ever in front of him.
He just wants to kick pride.
Right. He wants to just go out there and kick somebody's ass. That's what Ndamukong Suh wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got guys like that, when you had it starts showing up in other people also. Like, oh man, I'm not the lead dog anymore. Now we got a guy out here that's going to be a lead dog. Well, let me get my game going so I'm one of those lead dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It becomes infectious. You know what I mean? That's why I'm hoping Robert Quinn sees what Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham has done, and Keith
Keith
Sweat. I was about to say Keith Sweat.
He's available. I think he can play safety.
Oh man,
Sweat is available.
Damn. Yeah.
But you know, if he, you know, all that stuff starts being infectious, you know, Reed Blankenship going out there and ball, and maybe it goes out there. All right, he gonna come down and he gonna feel, man. He's gonna feel the whole. There's one guy I know in that secondary that will not have a problem with coming up and hitting King Henry, and that's Reed Blankenship. Now he might knock the dog.
Yeah, we might never see him again. Yeah.
Right, you know what I'm saying? He may be walking sideways, but best believe he is.
How many fingers do you see?
You know what I'm saying? Look, when I think of Reed Blankenship, I think of Eminem's song. You know what I'm saying? You better lose yourself. in the beginning when he's talking, that's what I'm thinking. Reed Blankenship was playing over and over.
Yeah, he's saying to himself as he's, yeah.
Reed,
I'm going up and hit this. I'm going up and hit this SOB. Let me go up and knock him out. He's gonna knock himself out. But I know he's gonna go out there and do it.
Yeah, Reed better put some extra padding in that helmet.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't throw up all over himself like mom's spaghetti.
Oh, jeez.
You know, shoot himself in the foot.
Yeah, exactly, man. Oh my God. All right. So if you look at from a standings standpoint, for lack of a better word, if you will, in the playoffs, and we're going to get into teams that could, you know, make a little push and surprise you, who are out of it, that are going to make a move in a second. But if you're looking at the standings and the way things set up right now in the NFC, right now the Eagles get the bye, which is exactly what you want. They'd have home field advantage, exactly what you want. But the way it sets up with the others, you know, you're talking about the Vikings, you're talking about the 49ers, the Bucs would get in because they're in that garbage division. It would be the Cowboys, you know, the Giants and the Commanders. Like everybody from the East right now is in. You throw Seattle into that mix at 6-5, et cetera. And looking at those teams, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. You know, we've done sort of who scares you the most, but who are you looking to avoid here? Who do you feel like is a bad matchup, just straight up for the Eagles here?
For the Eagles,
I'd say the Niners because of their running attack.
Well, I say the Niners also because of their physical presence. That would be one of those low-scoring, you know, brass knuckle type games also. And if they get healthy, if they ever get healthy, that's going to be a dogfight. The Eagles' best offensive line against the best defense in the NFL. I'm not going to say who I think would win because obviously you don't know, but I think that would be a game that I would pay the price of admission to sit at the 50-yard line, 10 rows up to see every ounce of that game. And I don't like going to games. I don't like being in the crowd. I would make the exception to the rule and go to a game like that to sit at the 50-yard line and watch that fight.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, Dallas can run it too. It's not like they can't run it. They have, the same thing, multiple guys.
They can, but Dallas can't stop the run. That's, you know, I want to see a team, you know, Dallas has a lot of facets that would give the Eagles problems. The Eagles have a lot of facets, as we've seen, that gives Dallas problems as well. But in terms of just backyard, junkyard brawl, yeah, I would say the 49ers. See, I'm still not overly impressed with Minnesota because two teams have exposed Minnesota in terms of how you beat that team. And also, I'm not putting my money on a Dak Prescott, but I'm not putting my money on a Kirk Cousins in a big game because he hasn't shown it. You know, and thirdly, because it's Minnesota, I ain't giving him no props.
I would rather play the 49ers than to play the Vikings.
Really?
Yes. And the reason why I say that because I know the Vikings can score.
Yeah.
You may have caught lightning in a bottle when we shut down
maybe
that offense the way we shut it down. They can run the ball well. They got a good offensive line. We know the receivers are good. When I look at the 49ers, everybody's looking at the, all right, they got Christian McCaffrey. They can't throw the ball. I mean, they get lucky every once in a while. They got Kittle and Deebo Samuels.
Yep.
And after that, I mean, Brandon Ayuk, every once in a while he goes and makes a play. But, I mean, they can't trust their quarterback to go out there and make plays every single play. I just can't.
I trust him more than Cousins.
I don't.
Because he's taking them to a Super Bowl. The team
went to the Super Bowl in spite of him. Just like when I won the Super Bowl, we won the Super Bowl in spite.
But that's my point.
Of Ben. Ben was not Big Ben then. Ben was just Ben Roethlisberger. He wasn't Big Ben then. It wasn't until that second Super Bowl he became Big Ben.
When the 49ers went to the Super Bowl, I agree. They went in spite of Garoppolo. This team is built the same way. In spite of Garoppolo, they could have a good measure of success. Defense, weapons, manage the game. That's all you got to do. Don't screw it up. He got them to a Super Bowl doing just that. And
Eagles
this team is built the same way.
Eagles can score on that defense, bro.
I'm not saying they can't. I would rather face Ed Donatell's 31st ranked defense right now than to face a defense ranked number 1 in the league. That's all I'm saying. The Vikings defense is 31st in the league.
Yeah, it's like, wouldn't you trust the Eagles more in a shootout situation rather than going against that 49ers defense, Barrett?
Exactly. I'd much rather have the Eagles go down the field.
What makes that defense so good? They've got really one great, not good, but great pass rusher, Nick Bosa. And then they have Greenlaw. And
yeah, their linebackers are really good.
All right,
no,
but then
they have a coordinator. They have a coordinator who schemes great. That's what makes that defense so good.
He's got great players.
He does, but there's also weakness. The back end, the back four is not as strong as the front seven. But because of the way he schemes and attacks, I mean, you look at that 49ers defense, even with a 4-man rush, they're always putting pressure on the quarterback.
Their strength comes from Nick Bosa and the 2 linebackers.
Okay.
And all those guys are fit within the box of the Eagles' strength and the offensive line. I will put my money on Jason Kelce and both guards getting up on those linebackers and blocking them linebackers more so than going out there and trying to outscore a Vikings.
So you think the Eagles could run against them?
Oh yeah.
I'd much rather see Ed Donatell's Matador defense on the field. I could throw for 150 yards on Ed Donatell's defense.
Bro, you know how you render Bosa ineffective? By punching him in the mouth.
Yeah,
running a rock on him. You don't see him making a lot of run plays. You see him passing on passing plays.
Right.
You don't see him doing it. You see Kelce, Sayamalu, Dickerson will put hands on them linebackers. It'd be a long day in the office for them linebackers. And I believe they can run the ball them consistently and render all that speed and all that. They'll get all that stomping into the ground.
They might, but the question was, but I think it's a choice of preference when it comes to that. You like them going up against the 49ers. I said I've watched Ed Donatell's defense for a lot this year, watched them up close against the Eagles. I've watched how the Vikings they've won 5 or 6 games by having to come back and win a game instead of taking control of the clock to win a game, instead of physically wearing you down to win a game. And that's what the 49ers do. They like to play that bully ball on both sides of the ball. They want to pound you and they want to beat you up. That's what they want to do. And that's why they stay in so many games. They're not a flashy team in terms of putting X amount of points on the board. They just outswing you more times than not. You know, when you rope-a-doping, matter of fact, Ed Donatell, okay, throw on us all day. Do what you got to do. Yeah, I'll see if our offense can bail us out again. Go ahead, walk right down the field.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why I say I'd rather play against the 49ers than play against the 49ers, to play against the Minnesota Vikings, because number one, they've got a running game. They're running back. Come on, man. He one of the best in the business. And they can throw the ball too. Yeah. And they went out and got Hawkinson from Detroit.
Right.
So now they're well balanced in all 3 levels.
Sure.
They can run the rock, they can hit the middle of the field, and they can throw the ball outside. I'd rather defend a running game, which you can stop. I know I could stop the 49ers running game. If you stop the 49ers running game and you make them pass, Garoppolo, I don't feel it. But, you know, Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
you catch him at a 1 o'clock game instead of a Monday night game, that won't be a 1 o'clock game. He will tear your ass to shreds.
Let me tell you
He
something.
knows exactly. He wakes up at the right time. It's a 1 o'clock game. He's used to it. We played him on Monday night. You know, he's out of sorts on Monday night. He's one of those guys.
He's out of sorts.
Yeah, he's not good in the big game. Man, you catch that dude at 1 o'clock, he will tear you to shreds.
All right. I will counter with this. Now, you make a very valid point because you're right. When you look at his Monday night record, it's laughable compared to his 1 o'clock record.
Right.
But I will say this also. I'd rather catch regular season Kirk Cousins than to catch regular season Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd rather catch playoff Kirk Cousins compared to playoff Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a big
You're
difference
right.
for me.
You're right about that,
Big
right?
Big difference.
We catch playoff Kirk Cousins. We good. We
You
good
to go.
That's why we have to do this show at noon. If we were doing this show any later, I'm off my game, man. Everything gets thrown off. You know what I mean? We were on at 7 o'clock. I'd be stumbling and bumbling and
we do the show any later, I wouldn't be here, bro. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna tell you right now.
No, if we did it any earlier, you wouldn't be there either.
That's a possibility too. Distinct possibility.
12 o'clock's perfect, man.
That's it, man. I'm telling
you. Not too early, not too late. Amen.
Oh man.
All right, let's come back. Dive into the Sixers lost. That's one thing, but it was what Doc Rivers said after the game that has a lot of people up in arms. So we'll dive into that. Flyers, LeBron, Phillies, hot stove heating up, all kinds of stuff. When we come back 2 o'clock, we'll do our NFL segment where we will do our NFC power rankings, top 5 running backs, 5 teams that are on the outside looking in right now that could make a move as well. All right, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right now, we're going to talk about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So, do you have any type of tree issues in your yard, on your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Keep in mind, we're in that time of year now, right? Heavy winds where I'm at today, hurricane season. It's a great time to have your trees evaluated because you don't want a bigger problem on your hand. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848. That's 610-850-2848 or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted,
revered,
appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate, honest,
and fair.
He is extremely dedicated,
motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia Dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for hanging out with us. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. All right, so the Sixers lose last night. Look, no shame in that. The Cavaliers are a very good team. The shame in it was the Sixers didn't show up, and the final was 113-85, and it really wasn't even that close, if you can believe it. Cavaliers shot 73% in the first half. You could just see from the jump the Sixers didn't have a whole lot of energy, whole lot of motivation in watching the game. The problem really came afterwards. Doc Rivers basically said, yeah, you know what? This just a scheduled loss. You know, I told the guys beforehand, you know, et cetera, and we didn't show up. We didn't play the way we felt, but you know, it kind of like it happens. Oh, well. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that can't happen. Like, how does that happen? I'm sorry. And maybe I'm sounding like the old man on the lawn or whatever. And back in my day, but you know, is it that hard to show up every game that you play? I think it's a real disgrace for fans who invested their time last night watching that game. I know it was on the road. It wasn't a home game, but invested their time watching that game for the coach to basically call it a scheduled loss. I think it's absolutely unacceptable.
I'm flabbergasted by that comment because it's not like they played a bunch of games on consecutive nights. Okay.
Right.
So you went from playing Friday, then you played Sunday, Monday, then you had Tuesday off, travel day, or maybe you traveled right after that game on Monday. So you had plenty of time to get ready. And it's not like you were traveling coast to coast. You went from a home game to Cleveland. That's not a long flight, right, whether you flew right after the game or the next day. Okay, so for you to come out at this stage of a season, and I understand you're nicked up, but to come out at this stage of a season and say it was a scheduled loss, I would like to, you know what, Doc, what do you mean by that? How can it be a scheduled loss? If you had played like 7-8 nights in a row, back, you know, road back home, okay, I understand. There is a fatigue factor involved here. There should not be a fatigue factor other than the fact that you're down a couple of players in injury, and we've applauded how other backup players have stepped up and filled the gaps in one games, you know, against the likes of Milwaukee and Utah and teams like that in Atlanta, and they showed up for those games. And basically you gave them a built-in excuse for having your worst loss of the season on a rest, day of rest.
It's almost like you predisposed the team to not go out and give max effort.
Exactly.
You know, Barrett, you're muted, Barrett. Like, can you imagine one of your coach? I know you only play 16, and now it's 17 in the NFL. I get it. But still, like, can you imagine a coach before the game being like, yeah, listen, whatever happens, you know, happens tonight.
Bruh, this is the same thing I was talking about when fans were talking about, well, maybe we need to lose one to get more focus. Damn that, man. I'm not trying to lose no game. And I'm definitely not going to tell my guys this is a skill. All right, we're going to lose this game. What kind of mess is that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to lose this game. We'll probably lose this game, guys. So understand if you don't give max effort. That's just heartless, no spine having, shouldn't be telling your guys that type of coach, man. You don't do that, man.
Yep.
I've been saying since we've been talking about, you know, the Eagles going undefeated. If they can go undefeated, they're going to go undefeated. You don't have that type of loser's mentality.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? What type of mentality is that to have? That's a losing mentality.
Yep. And
a scheduled loss? What the hell is a scheduled loss? All right,
I can't get over that,
guys, we're playing against Brady. So we know we're going to lose this game. We know we're gonna lose it, but hey, we'll get them next time. Hell with that, bro. I'm fired up, man. I can't believe he said. When you told me he said that, I had to look it up.
I know.
I thought you may have misheard him or he was misquoted. But that fool said that, man.
That fool.
Well, I mean, if Maury's on board with this, Josh Harris, Elton Brand, I don't know, whoever you want to throw out there in addition to this, shame on every one of you, man. Every single one of you. That, you know, you wonder why this team doesn't get past the second round.
Yeah.
It's this kind of crap.
Yeah.
Is why you don't get past the second round.
What type of competitive edge do you give your guys by saying, we'll probably lose this game, guys, so I understand if you guys just kind of take this off?
Yeah.
Man, come on, man.
And even if it's true, even if you told your guys that, Doc Rivers has been around the game long enough as a player and as a coach to realize there's just certain things you just don't tell the media.
No.
Because he said the same thing last season. That it was a scheduled loss. I've never heard a coach say that. A scheduled loss.
You shouldn't hear a coach say that.
No, it should never be uttered. Yeah.
No. You know,
there are times that you look, I'm preaching the choir, but for both of you guys, where you know you're undermanned, you know, there's a good chance you're probably not going to win the game. But A, as a coach, you never share that with your team.
No.
And B, as a player, you know, you don't go out there with that mentality or you're going to get smoked.
No. Man,
I mean, not to mention, I said this to you guys in our pre-show meeting. You know, how about if you bet that game? I would absolutely, sue the league, sue the team. Oh, you're telling me it was a scheduled loss, and I bet X amount of money on that, my hard-earned money legally.
Give me
back. Telling me that this is okay.
Give me back. Give me back. You gonna give me my money back for sure?
Yeah,
because you went out there with a half-hearted pissant effort.
Yeah, and
are you kidding me? And you said it. That's almost like point shaving. That's all like, well, guys, you know, that's point shaving, dog. I'm not even gonna give you guys. I understand if you don't give max effort. I understand that you guys go out there and lose.
That to me, like as a fan, like I said, as a fan, you're giving, you know, you're buying the gear, you're going to the game, you know, all that incurs, and then you know you're spending your time last night. Like, man, Sixers are 7:00, man, can't wait. And you're like, man, this effort sucks, and they get smoked. You're like, it's bad enough, and then I got to hear that on top of it. It's bad. It's bad look for the whole organization, man. And they can spin it any way they want to spin it. It's a bad look,
bro. So what do you say?
That's where you have a closed door conversation between the owner, the GM, and the head coach.
If they're not on board, they might all been on board with it.
You're right, but even if they were, Rob, you got to have a closed door meeting and say, "Hell up, man. Now we strategically are behind you, but you can't put us in this situation."
Yeah, by saying it publicly. Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
Yeah.
No, Doc trying to get to California. That's what he's doing. To say something like that to Philly fans, you know, because it's already messed up that fans get pissed off. They bought tickets to see LeBron play, and then he has a maintenance day, and they don't get to play. They spend all this money on those tickets to see LeBron, and he gets a maintenance day. This is worse than a maintenance day.
Oh, way worse.
Yeah.
At least you could somewhat justify that, hey, he's a little banged up or, you know, whatever. We're trying to manage him through 82 games. It sucks, but there's some justification around that.
Bro, I'm hot because that's BS, bro.
Yeah.
That is BS.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what? I knew I wasn't going to play well against Reggie White, so I'm not going to play as hard.
Yeah.
What is that all about, man?
Yeah, I know. I look at it too, you know, back to your point, Derek, where it was like, all right, next time they play a back-to-back, should I expect no effort the second night? Like,
yes.
I mean? Yeah. Like they play Friday. They have a day off, but are they going to show up in Memphis? Because they didn't show up after having a day off Tuesday on Wednesday in Cleveland.
Oh, guys. All right, I gave you a pass, you know, for the last game, you know, and I didn't expect you guys to play hard. So I think I expect you guys to play hard this game, okay? Go ahead and play hard this game, all right? Is that okay? Are you cool with that? You good? Hey, Joel, you good? All right, I'm just making sure you're good.
B-ball Paul.
Come on, I mean, you gonna play? Oh, what about you? You good? All right. We all good. Yeah, so we're all good. We'll play hard this game.
Is anybody giving any money back from their giant checks from that game? Just out of curiosity.
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
All right. So I wanted to hit this related NBA before we get to some Flyers and Phillies. But LeBron James, after the game last night, Lakers won. They were kind of wrapping up his time with the media. And as he was exiting, he asked a question to the writers in person and basically said, hey, curious why nobody's asked me about Jerry Jones. And basically the quick synopsis of the Jerry Jones thing, and you guys correct me if I'm missing anything here. So when Jerry Jones was a kid, he's 14. When he was 14 years old in Arkansas, there was I believe a black student trying to get into a school, I think, and they were the authorities, whatever. I don't know if it was police or it was the administrators were trying to keep, I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl, honestly, to keep them out of the school. Am I with the gist of it? So they uncovered a picture where Jerry Jones was there. He basically said, you know, he was just on hand. Like he wasn't taking part in keeping this person from going into the school. So he said, here's the quote from LeBron. I got one question for you guys before you leave. I was thinking when I was on my way over here, I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question from you guys about the Jerry Jones photo. But when Kyrie Irving's thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask us questions about that. All right. So I want to get both of you guys' take on LeBron posing that question to the media.
Say the question again, please. Say it again.
What LeBron asked them?
Yeah, say that again, please.
So LeBron said, I got one question for you guys before you guys leave. I was thinking this on the way over here. I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question from you guys about the Jerry Jones photo. But when Kyrie Irving thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask us questions about that. So Gunnar, I'll start with you on that one.
Well, I think, and I'm not defending it in either way, shape, or form. The Kyrie Irving thing is more pertinent to his profession.
Right.
It's part of his workforce. Okay.
I gotta call BS on that. BS on that.
What?
Because
what?
It as a black man, you know, with a guy in a high-ranking position, you know, there's no way he can explain himself around that. You know what I'm saying? That's not
who's he?
That the media is not asking. That the media is not asking him questions about that because he's a sports figure, number one.
Right.
He's a Dallas fan, number two.
Okay, but where does Kyrie play in the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
What is LeBron James' primary income?
NBA.
Okay, so that's why that's a natural question for one of the more prominent names in the NBA. Okay, when you're talking about the football thing, okay, I understand that somebody should have picked up on that. Now, Jerry Jones tried to come out and defend himself and say, basically, at that time, he said, I walked up and I was trying to see what was going on. I wasn't part of the protest.
Yeah.
I walked up to see what was actually going. And if you look at the pictures, he's way in the back. You don't see the anger on his face like some of the people you see up towards the front. Okay. Can you honestly call Jerry Jones a liar? We weren't there in 1957. I don't know what Jerry Jones was like at the age of 14. I do know he was in a racist state in Arkansas, but I don't know what his mindset was back then.
Well, but see, we're not talking about the mindset of Jerry. We're talking about why
LeBron wasn't asked a question about
right.
Jerry.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes, I know, I get that, but I'm just saying, first and foremost, when you holler BS, I'm just like, hold the phone here. If I'm a reporter and I'm covering the NBA, the first thing, you know,
I'm not talking about you, BS. I'm talking BS. I'm talking BS on the reporters not saying anything to him.
Well, I was hollering fish grease. I was standing my ground, bro. I thought you coming at me like, no, I'm just playing.
Bro, I'm
just playing, man.
I mean, they were saying, you know, they should have went to say something to him because he has been an activist.
Yes.
Well, they put him in an activist role on so many different topics. He was right there with 49ers and what's his name when he was kneeling? Kaepernick kneeling. He was right there front and center. They were saying stuff to him, asking him about it. They always come to LeBron and ask LeBron about things like that. So that's why he was saying, well, why aren't you guys saying anything? You say anything else? You talk about anything else that, you know, you think that I should, you know, comment on. So that's why I say that, you know, that he had a right to say it like that in the way he said it.
Yeah, I think there's you know, I think there's like most things, if you look at it objectively and you kind of step back a minute, there's points to be made all around. In other words, I get where LeBron's coming from. Like, you know, let me hear it with everything. Keep the same energy, as people like to say sometimes when it comes to everything. I also get where the reporter might say, I'm asking about Kyrie because you play in the same league with him. You know Kyrie. You have personal experience with Kyrie. I don't know if he has it. He might have personal experience with Jerry Jones. I have no idea. But I think that's kind of where that's coming from. But yeah, look, I think there's validity in it. I mean, let's look at everything here. Let's keep everything on the table and hit everybody with everything. So I think LeBron's entitled to say it for sure. I think a valid comeback could be, I'm asking you about someone who plays in your league, not, I could ask you about something that happened in soccer or baseball or whatever, I guess. And maybe that'll happen going forward. I don't know. I don't know. But I think it was interesting. One of our Griffin says LeBron is a Cowboys fan. He actually denounced his Cowboy fandom, I guess, whatever you want to call that, a couple of years
that's
back.
what I'm saying it too.
Yeah.
He's been very open about being a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
That's why I said I really called BS on it, because he's a Cowboys fan. He's made it very known that he's a Cowboys fan. It's just another one of the wormy things that Cowboys fans do.
Well, I'll tell you the only other thing I would say that is dangerous, if you're looking to I don't even say cast stones, because I don't think that's what LeBron was doing, but there was a lot that went down with Nike and some of their sweatshops in China and all that, and LeBron was pretty quiet when it came to that. So you got to be careful sometimes, what can of worms you're opening up. But anyway, nonetheless,
absolutely.
I think that it's food for thought, and I like thought-provoking things.
Yep.
With LeBron.
So as you read the story, were there any responses by the media as to why?
It didn't.
Nope.
No, it didn't. It didn't look like. I think it just
caught him off guard.
100% caught him all.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there will be any kind of dialogue or further dialogue or debate regarding it. But I know, Jerry's entrenched in. I was a kid. I was watching it. I didn't have anything to do with it. Whatever. I have no idea.
But when you look at him, it kind of looks like that. He's just sitting there looking stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's 14, and he's who knows. Anyway. All right, so Flyers host the Lightning tonight. They are coming off a win, which is good, and we'll see if they can keep it going. It's not going to be easy. Lightning are
back on the Flyers wagon, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I hear you. The Phillies, look, this thing, it feels like it's getting real for the Phillies. Like all the real heavy hitters nationally are saying that you're looking at Trey Turner or you're looking at one of the other three stud shortstops, and you might be looking at a really high level starter too. And Barrett pointed this out in our pre-show meeting, and I want to reiterate and circle back to it. Last year we were hoping maybe it'll be Schwarber, maybe it'll be Castellanos, one of those guys, because they need a bat. Middleton went out and Dombrowski landed two. So I'm not putting anything past them that they don't get a top line starter to go with a top line shortstop. I think it's possible.
Man, this team's taking a Yankees model, man, on how to build a team. Spin, baby. Let's get what we can while we can.
Didn't they make like $70 million over that 2 or 3 week period?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what you said. Wasn't
the city did. I thought the Phillies made a ton off of it too. Yeah,
no question.
But I think too, it's that. Definitely, it's that. But I also think that Middleton finally got a taste again.
Yeah,
and he looks at it, and he was 2 games away. And he also looked at how you had to piecemeal the starting rotation together, and maybe he doesn't want to have that same issue, again this year. But
that was kind of hectic, don't you think? After the third game, it was like you took a dartboard, you took a dart and start, put faces on a dartboard, so throwing darts in. Yeah. All right, you're starting this week. Are you going to start at this game? Are you going to come in and relieve? You're a middle reliever. All right, who are we going to close? Let me see. All right, let me turn around backwards and throw it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Barry. And he was putting a ton of pressure on your bullpen.
Oh, I mean, but I asked you this early.
Yeah.
If you get a starter, does that mean you're gonna, decline really amping up your bullpen?
I don't think you're going to get a really expensive bullpen piece. I think they'll add a couple of arms, but I think that's where you may see them go. I don't want to say the cheap, but they may go on. They may be more frugal. With the bullpen, if you're spending that much on those two positions.
Yeah, man, how much more money?
If you got it.
If you go starter and Trey Turner, how much more do you have to spend? I mean, how much money do you have left to spend after those two? After what you just spent last year to build this team?
Hey, man. Hey. As the immortal words of Hugh Douglas.
What?
It ain't tricking if you got it. It ain't tricking if you got it.
Yeah.
If you can spend it, go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
Well, the other good thing is it doesn't look like this is going to be going into like March. Like by all accounts, because of the World Baseball Classic and some other stuff, they want to get deals done. So that's good. The sooner the later. That's sitting through the entire offseason thing that we had to do with Harper, and then last year when they were, what was it, the lockout, right? Was that, am I crazy? Was that last year? Or was that the year before?
That was last December.
Right. So then we had to wait forever for them to sign Schwarber and Castellanos.
We didn't start till like mid-April, didn't we?
Yeah, it was later. Yeah, it was definitely later. So yeah,
we already got to wait. We can't wait that long. We already got to wait for Harper to come back, man. So we're not a patient city. We don't have patience like that.
No, that's for sure. I think they also realize that they're not. It's going to be hard to overcome another stretch here without Harper. So if you can bring in another really big gun here, I think they're going to do it. I do.
So first base, what goes on at first base?
First base is going to be interesting. I don't know. I mean, right now, I think it's most likely Hoskins returns, but it's possible.
To be honest,
yeah,
I'm good with that, bro.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world if he comes back. Right. He is frustrating, but he does hit a lot of big home runs for you. And he's a guy who's really beloved in that clubhouse too, which I think means something, at least at some level. All right, so we're gonna come back and it's NFL talk. More bad news for Antonio Brown or regarding Antonio Brown. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Peterson, we touched on it earlier. We'll dive into a little bit more on Kyler Murray firing back, Lamar Jackson, T.O. back in the news. Good game tonight, Bills and the Patriots. Actually really looking forward to that one, because these Thursday night games have been tough. Oof.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yes. So we will do all of that when we come back. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right. Data is everywhere in business today, but when it's looked at in silos, it can be efficiently used, and businesses don't have time to wait for insights that shape decision-making. So Razor Technologies data management not only integrates data from wherever it's generated or collected, but provides a uniform structure for storing, interpreting, and distributing it to decision makers. Razor helps businesses transform and model their data, use it to populate real-time dashboards, and create shareable reports that highlight key areas of progress, as well as warning signs in need of attention. Smart data analytics and tools to make data insights easily digestible help businesses of all sizes and types discover where they can untap significant savings. Razor Technology can help you break down your silos and fully realize the value of your data to drive growth for your business. Learn more. Contact Razor Technology today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted, revered,
Appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate, honest,
and fair.
He is extremely dedicated,
motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Welcome back in, everybody. Hour number 3 of the program. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, hanging out with you on this Thursday. Friday quickly approaching, guys. All right. Unfortunately, this is a pattern that is not surprising that we've seen repeatedly from this individual. But Antonio Brown in trouble again. There is a warrant out for his arrest. That states Brown is wanted on a battery charge stemming from an incident on November 28th. And he's, we know the run-ins here. Last month, he was ordered to pay $1.2 million to a Broward County moving truck driver that he was arrested for assaulting. He pled no contest. He got 2 years probation, blah, blah, blah. But there's been a million little blow-ups and flare-ups here and there. And unfortunately, it doesn't feel like the last time we're going to be seeing this kind of stuff with Antonio. He's got some problems. So, throwing it out there. Everybody's muted. Everybody's muted but me. Hi. Yes, you too, Gunner.
What?
There you go.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
You too, Barrett.
Oh, the host unmuted my mic. I wasn't muted.
I got you.
Yeah. See, I blame it on that guy. You know who we're talking about.
I think he has some serious mental issues that he has to take care of.
I would concur. Yeah.
No, Barrett. Not that he has to take care of. Somebody has to intercept him.
Yeah.
And protect him from himself. I have listened to him on a number of podcasts, like from former players, and when you listen to the few times he's spoken to media people, listen to how his speech is slurred, and listen to some of the stuff coming out of his mouth. That dude needs somebody to intervene for him and protect him from himself before something even more serious happens, whether to himself or he does something to somebody else, man. Because, you can be a phenomenal talent, which he was. And you look at the way he is now, and it's sad to watch. It really is. Sad to watch.
I would usually crack a joke.
Right.
To say like something like, you got my wife and you got Trish praying for me all the time and interceding for me all the time.
Yeah.
You always saying something wrong with me, but this is something I can't even joke about.
I know, man.
He's going to hurt himself or somebody bad.
Yeah,
this is serious.
It's
very serious.
And the problem is, like, I would imagine he's a very difficult guy to try to get to see the light that he needs help because of the way he just turns on everybody. Like Tom Brady tried to do everything for the guy, and he has crapped all over Tom Brady. And he did it to Roethlisberger. He did it to the Steelers organization. He did it when he was at the Raiders. He did it to Tampa. He did it to Bruce Arians. It feels like everybody who tries to help, he dumps on the most. So hopefully this thing, I don't know.
One of the most appalling things I saw was earlier this season when he put that picture out there of him hugging Giselle and some of the things that he said.
Yeah.
After what Brady did for him to get him down to Tampa, to put him in a winning situation, and how he turned on him, and then to do that, knowing full well that's after it became a national story that Brady and Giselle were going through a divorce. He puts that out there.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong with people like that, man.
But I'm not even worried about the stuff with Brady, and I'm talking about just from seeing and listening to what he said. I mean, I don't care who did what for him. And then I'm looking at the stream. No, Jerry does not get a pass. You know what I'm saying? What was that at? Jerry doesn't get a pass. What is that? It's the see how AB gets crucified and Jerry Jones gets a pass. Like, oh, just give no. We're not giving Jerry a pass.
Is AB getting crucified, or are we?
Jerry's an effed up individual. I've said that on many.
Are we reporting that he just got arrested again, or is going to get arrested?
But no,
we made this up about AB.
Right?
Yeah, really.
That's not the case. Jerry Jones is a slimy weasel. You know what I'm saying? He is. I already told people. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said. That's why D-Gun, you thought I was getting saying something to you. I was not saying anything to you. I'm talking about Jerry. I talk about Jerry the whole time, and some of the stuff that's going on, and how the media had nothing to do with that. I mean, I just dislike Jerry. In fact, I gave up $100 million. $100,000 not to go to Dallas because of Jerry. You know what I'm saying? I went to Detroit, lowly old Detroit. Detroit without Barry Sanders, Detroit.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying? And $100,000 to go to Detroit. So it's not the case. I just dislike Jerry Jones. It's an innate hatred, not hatred, but dislike for him.
Some of the stories I've heard about Jerry during my tenure in this industry is like what? Wow, But Jerry Jones does a lot of his slimy stuff behind closed doors that you don't hear about. And the topic of Jerry Jones in that particular picture from 1957, you can only speculate. You can only speculate what was his purpose there. And Jerry came out and said, I was walking up to find out what was going on. I had no idea. I can't call a man a liar for that. Right. I mean, we saw something that is a significant part of what's wrong in America in a picture from 1957. Okay. I can't call a man a liar based on what he said. I know what I've heard about Jerry Jones over the last 4 decades. That's a little different. Well, it might have been what we're saying about Antonio Brown just happened a few days ago.
Right.
It's not giving Jerry Jones a pass.
I don't know. I love equating one to the other. It's just anyway.
Right. I mean, he might have got Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump, walks into the
Yeah.
What's going on?
Is that Gump over there?
Bear, how'd you do that? How'd you do that, Bear?
By the way, the Eagles could use Forrest as a kick return. Just saying. He was a good returner back in the day for Bear Bryant.
What do you say? Is that Gump?
Is that Gump? Yeah. That boy is a running fool.
Oh, my goodness.
So we touched on it earlier, but I don't know. Patrick Peterson is just being as honest as you can be and not sugarcoating things, or he's trying to get some, or both, or trying to get some ears on his podcast or some eyes on it, whatever. But he did call out Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray did fire back at him. Basically saying that, man, like, you got my number. If you had an issue with me, you tell me then. You're not being much of a mentor. So I know, and we touched on it earlier, but for whatever it's worth, there's definitely some issues there in Arizona. And the problem is, you're going to Kingsbury's going to be gone, and rightfully so, but Kyler Murray's there for a very long time with that kind of money he's making, and he ain't going anywhere. So they better figure it out real quick.
Right. But we see it. We're not in the locker room, but we see the type of guy he is just from the reactions we've seen on the field. And as a player, you pretty much see and understand what, the lack of conceptual camaraderie we see with him. He gets pissed off and everything, and everybody just lets him go on to do his thing. Nobody tries to go over and to console him or anything. He just goes over and sit down.
Yeah.
Big Ben was like that for a little bit, then he got better. And then, they say he's a great team. He was a great teammate towards the end.
Right. But he was out of control. No question.
Yeah.
He was absolutely out of control.
You can see he's good now.
And look, we do tend to forget these guys are very young, right?
Yes.
And the exception is a guy like Jalen Hurts, who handles himself like he's 44, not 24. But a lot of times it takes time for young players. What's Kyler Murray, 25, whatever he is. Sometimes it takes guys a little humility, a little humbling, a bad season or whatever.
Right.
A coach getting fired, and then they wake up a little bit, and maybe that'll be the case with Kyler Murray. I don't know. but they're in some trouble there. Yeah.
I wonder how much Patrick Peterson's comments were based on just his heartfelt feelings towards Kyler Murray. You spent 2 years with him, firsthand observations, or talking to former teammates who are still there, feeding this information, coupled in with the fact he's now doing a podcast. He's trying to get some notoriety for. Obviously for him to come out and say that, he's got to be. Players all talk, whether you leave a team or not. They talk.
Absolutely.
And then you see the antics on the sidelines,
right?
And then he's blasting his quarterback.
Yeah.
What?
Well, he was there for.
His coach.
Yeah, he was there for 2 years with him, so he did.
Right.
I mean, he has firsthand knowledge of what he's all about. So that's that. Do you see this TO thing? So TO goes to a CVS. He's picking something up at a CVS in LA. He's talking with a fan of his. Okay, they're just having a conversation. Some other guy, intercedes and starts mouthing off to the dude who was talking to TO.
Right.
TO tries to chill this guy out. Again, this is according to TO and bystanders and whatnot. Tries to chill this guy out, even to the point where he was like, "All right, I'm getting out of here. I'm just going to get away from this nonsense." The guy follows him outside. They have words. They square off. There is TMZ, I think, has video of it.
Yes.
They're like in front of a car on the sidewalk in front of a CVS, this to me, like, there's a lot of blame that goes around a lot of times. This looks like T.O. did everything he could to just calm this thing down.
Yeah.
And then finally he's like, all right, dude, you want to go? Let's go. Like, it really, and I just hope, if this is the way it all played out, that this clown that tried this move on T.O. and the fan, doesn't get any kind of monetary reward out of this for going after him.
Well, he swung first, so evidently T.O. can actually sue him.
He defended himself.
Good.
But T.O. said, crack, dude.
Oh, T.O. was like Muhammad Ali, so he didn't even know what happened, man. But
man.
By the way, you're going to square off with T.O. I know he's not a boxer, but you know the kind of shape the dude's in. You know what kind of athlete he is.
That man
really?
chiseled, dude.
And plus, dude was little.
Yeah, you got a death wish, man. You doing something like that? Come on, man.
Unbelievable.
I'm glad he gave it to him. Gave him everything he wanted.
I am too. So a couple other little odds and ends here. So Aaron Rodgers, basically the gist of where things are now, he looks like he's going to play this week. He did say, and it was more longer form, I'm simplifying things here, but he did say basically, like, if we're out of it, I get it if they want to look at Jordan Love. And I think he was trying to say, like, I'm not going to be a dick about it. Like, I think is what he was trying to say, which I respect. At least I'm not a big fan of his and the way he handles many things, but I feel like this might get twisted into he's bailing on the team when he wasn't. He basically said, I hope we don't get to that point. I hope we're still playing for games that mean something. If we're not, I understand they want to get a look at him in some games. That's all he said. So for once, I'm okay with Aaron Rodgers there, personally. I don't have a problem with it.
I can't believe you said
write
that.
down.
Yeah,
you can write that down.
What?
You'll
Let me
never
write
say
this
that
down.
again.
At 2/12, December 1st, Rob Ellis lost his doggone mind.
I know.
No, but you know what? It happens all the time. A team's out. They're going to start looking at players for next season. And, Jordan Love, you spent a first-round draft pick, shocked the world when all these receivers were out there on the board that year.
Right.
You take a quarterback when you have a future Hall of Famer already entrenched.
Yep.
Not like you needed a quarterback at that time,
Yeah.
And so you got to see what he's capable of doing sooner or later.
Right.
We've seen sporadically in the 2+ years he's been there. He played a game against Kansas City one year. Last season went okay, not great. He hasn't had enough reps. I think he's played like 8 or 9 games over 2 years.
I give him credit. He wasn't scared when he got in there on Sunday night.
No. Well, he said, you know what? Oh, man, Eagles got me a 4-man front. Oh, I know they can't get to me. So
there you go. So that was it's the latest there. I mean, trust me, they're done. So don't worry about that. All right, let's
why
dive
you have
into
to say that emphatically, man? Why you want to mess up my
Sorry,
day
Gunner.
like that,
I know.
No,
they still have a chance.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
No, but
you do.
Yeah. You actually have a good game tonight. We have the Bills and the Patriots.
Yeah.
This game's in New England. They haven't played yet this year. Buffalo 8-3, New England 6-5. Big game for New England, really, for both, but really New England. If they're looking to keep their playoff hopes alive here. They don't want to go to 6-6 after the loss on Thanksgiving. But the Bills are 3.5-point favorites at New England. What are we thinking in this one, guys? I'm still liking Buffalo, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Well, it tells you what the odds makers think because the point spread is so close in this game. They feel basically it's a either or type game. I mean, say what you want to say. The New England Patriots are not the team they were, obviously, with the Tom Brady, but you still got that guy named Belichick, who's one of the best strategists in the game. How are they going to try to keep this a close-scoring game? Because Buffalo has struggled as of late, and Josh Allen has not been Josh Allen, as of late. So
especially in the red zone.
Oh no, so I'm curious to see just how low scoring it could possibly be, and what Belichick comes up try to corral that Buffalo offense.
Well, his starting left tackle, Deion
Dawkins isn't playing. Yeah, that's a big one.
He's out, so that's huge. That is definitely huge. Realistically, man, that's gonna be a game, man. That's gonna be a really, really good game. Consider the fact that the way that the Bills have been playing, I don't think that Belichick respects them. And when you don't respect the team, man, you just no telling what you might do. Remember last year they played in Buffalo and they squeaked out one by only throwing 6 passes.
That win game. Yeah, it was a Monday. I think it was a Monday night, right? It was crazy windy. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me that they're not pissed off about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you.
You're right.
So that is it's actually good. We'll do more on this tomorrow when we preview the entire week, but it's a good card. There's a lot of good games this week. The Eagles are one of them, but there's a lot of good games for sure. All right. So a couple other things. Will Levis, the quarterback of Kentucky, is entering the draft. He had another year, like the COVID year they all got. He could have played another year. He's coming out. He's projected as a top 5 quarterback. I actually like him. His numbers aren't great this year. He was playing kind of hurt, and he didn't have great wide receivers. But I think he's a guy to keep your eye on. Not that the Eagles are interested, but I'm just saying, in the NFL, where he ends up going. But some of it's going to depend on who else comes out. But he will be coming out. He's a Penn State transfer to Kentucky.
Right.
Had a good season too.
Yeah, stuck behind Sean Clifford. He's got a lot of the measurables that they look forward to. So Deshaun Watson did meet the media. He didn't yesterday, but he did today, and basically said, "Hey, it's funny. We talked about this. He said, ask me football questions. That's all I'm answering. Just actually the way he should. It's the right approach here on out for him.
You're here.
Yeah.
Here.
Said, I understand you guys have a lot of questions with my legal team and my clinical team. There's only football questions I can really address at this time. You do that right away. All right. Then we're on to football.
You know what we messed up? Everybody just turned around and said, "Oh,
they just walked. Everybody just left. Yeah, we're not interested in the game. Yeah, who cares?"
I don't blame him for putting that umbrella around him. Why should he have to talk about that now?
He shouldn't. Here's the thing: if you do that now and you go out there and play, no matter what happens, win or lose, especially if you play well, but if win or lose, then I think it should, unless there's more stuff that crops up, it should just be football going forward.
And people will get amnesia quick.
Yeah, they will. If he plays well, absolutely they will.
If he slips up and says something that incriminates him, then you open a whole new can of worms. And now you can't focus on playing football because you know how the national media picks up on this stuff, man.
Absolutely.
And when it's retold 20 different ways from the truth.
You got to be more careful.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, let's dip into our top 5 running backs first. Let's do that first. Then we'll do teams on the outside looking in, and then we'll do our NFC ranking. So let's do running backs. Now we're doing this because Derrick Henry's in town. And, we know what he's been since he's, gotten the opportunity to become the full-time guy in Tennessee. He has been dominant. That's for sure, to say the least. And the Eagles are going to have to deal with him on Sunday. So let's rank our running backs in order. Top 5.
Ooh.
Now, keep in mind, the parameters are, it's not necessarily this guy has the most rushing yards, so he has to be first. We're not just reading off the list of the top rushers. It's, your own preference, style, what you've seen over the years, guy you wouldn't want to face, whatever, however you want to look at it, however it is for you. You want to throw yours out there, guys, in the chat section. You can do that as well. Who wants first crack?
I'll go first.
All right, B. Brooks.
I'm going King Henry, number 5.
He's 5.
Yeah, he's my 5. Like I said, we're going by choice because
it's your choice.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Now my number 4, Miles Sanders.
Okay.
My number 3 is Jonathan Taylor. My number 2, Nick Chubb. And my number 1, Saquon Barkley.
Saquon 1. Okay.
So
Okay.
one of my faves I couldn't get on it. Kamara, I couldn't get on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He hasn't done enough this year.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey is not on my list because he'll never be on my list because I don't see him as a guy that's the true conventional running back.
Yeah, he's missed too much time.
He reminds me of Harmon. Remember Harmon from San Diego?
Oh yeah.
No, Ronnie Harmon.
Yeah, Ronnie Harmon. He reminds me a lot of him, or maybe what's that running back used to be? Eric Metcalf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Metcalf in him.
Old Cardinals.
Yep.
That's good. All right. Gunnar, you want next track?
Yeah, I've always loved running backs who had the ability to slash and dash. That make you miss. I'm from the school of Gale Sayers up to Barry Sanders, those type of running backs. So based on that, my number 5 is Dalvin Cook. I love his ability to put you on his highlight reel. He's got the quick burst, and if he gets in open space, you're not going to catch him. My number 4 is Josh Jacobs. Here's a power back who has the ability to make people miss too. You talk about his stop and start. He can either run over you or he can run around you as well. And number 3 for me will be Jonathan Taylor. Number 2, Nick Chubb, and number 1, Saquon.
Wow. Okay. Good list.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Dalvin Cook 5.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs 4.
Mm-hmm.
3 is Jonathan Taylor. 2, Nick Chubb. 1, Saquon. Now the other.
How did Josh Jacob get in there?
Josh Jacob, I've always loved it, even when he came out of college, man. He's a physical back, and then all of a sudden you think he's going to dip his shoulder and make you pay, and all of a sudden he does a head shoulder face. He can stop, make you miss. He's also he has the speed, he has the power and the ability to set you up and make you miss. I like it. I just like his combination, his overall game.
It's funny you say that because they weren't using them earlier in the season, and they were getting their ass kicked. But then they start using them now.
Changed a
and
lot.
what happens? You know what I'm saying?
They misused him. They've been misusing him because he had a good season last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
but they weren't using them.
Right. You got the offensive. You've got this offensive guru. How do you mismanage this kid? You know what I'm saying? Now, you can't keep having him run 30 times a game. You're gonna kill him. But for what he is, you're not getting maximum effort out of him until the last couple of games. And I will say this: it was hard for me to leave. I'm with Barrett. I love Alvin Kamara because Alvin Kamara is one of those type backs. I love Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is those kind of backs. But so I had 7 I wanted to put on there. When it came down to 5, it was hard to leave both of those guys off there.
Okay, good list so far. All right, I'll work my way up from 5. It's similar to Gunnar on the back end here with these guys. I have Dalvin Cook at 5. I think Dalvin, even though his numbers aren't going to blow you away, the only knock is he will miss time. But Dalvin Cook's really good.
Right,
He is really good, runner and pass catcher. I have Jacobs at 4. I can't ignore what the guy does when he gets opportunities. It feels like he's going to be out of Vegas because they pick up his option. It looks like a Miles Sanders situation where he's going to be somewhere else. But really good. I have Saquon at 3, actually. I have Nick Chubb at 2. Saquon only because, and I know he's been healthy this year to his credit, but I'm just worried that he can't hold up every single year. It was like 2 or 3 straight years where he was just banged up big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love Nick Chubb. I mean, I just think the guy is absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know, maybe because it's Cleveland, he doesn't get enough love, but the guy's unreal, and it's the position. But Derrick Henry's my favorite running back. He's my number 1 guy. The power, the ability to do other things. I don't think they've done him any favors by, extracting a receiver like A.J. Brown and putting more heat on him. I think if that guy was playing in an offense with a real good quarterback and good wideouts, he'd be that much better, even though he might not get as many touches. I think it'd actually preserve him for his career too. So I don't know, that I don't blame Mike Vrabel and Tennessee for using him a ton, but I don't know if they're helping him in the long haul.
They're definitely not helping them.
No, it's like if people are old enough to remember Earl Campbell, like, and I don't I don't blame the teams, but they used him up and they spit him out, man.
Right.
And when he was done, he was done. Like the New Orleans days was not the same Earl Campbell as the Houston days. So anyway, that's my I go Henry, Chubb, Barkley, Jacobs, Cook is my order.
I am that's a great list. I am always fascinated by a big man who has exceptional speed to go with that power.
Yeah.
You think Earl Campbell and then Derrick Henry, that's a freak of nature for a man to be that big that can outrun secondaries at any given time he wants to.
Yeah.
It just blows me away how this dude, because it's not the norm. We don't see average 250-pound running backs outrunning quarterbacks and safeties.
That's why he went in the second round. That's why in the beginning of his career he was splitting time. Like people always doubted him for whatever reason. As great as he was at Alabama, and he's proven them wrong every stop too. Okay, let's do our 5 on the outside, kind of peeking in. So basically, teams that are right now not in the playoff picture, but over the course of the next 6-7 games, you could see them making their move and getting in.
I couldn't rank them in order. They're not in order.
It doesn't have to be in order.
They don't have to be in order.
It could just be, give me the teams. I'm sorry, no order. What in any particular order?
I have two division guys. I got the Commanders and I got the Giants.
Okay.
To me, they're sitting on the outside because,
well, right now they would be in the playoffs, though.
I know, but when you look at the list, and I try to go by the list, I just don't think a 4-win team will be in.
Yeah, the other teams are so buried that you're.
I don't see a 4. So the list I had to confirm. I mean, the Falcons, they're 5-7, but I still don't think they can make it because they're not going to win. The Bucs are going to win their division, so I couldn't put them in. So I couldn't not logically put them in.
Right.
You even when you go to the other side, when you go to the NFC or the AFC, these 4-win teams, I don't think they got a shot, man. So that's why I say the Giants and the Commanders. But then I also see, a team that's 7-4. I think they're on the outside because, and that's the Jets. They're on the outside looking in because they got they have the Bills and the Dolphins in front of them. And my last one, my last 2, I'm gonna go with Chargers and the Bucs. Even though the Bucs are in because they're winning the division, but somebody might sneak up and beat them.
Yeah,
they're losing. They just lost their last game. So it's hard to make this list. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's hard to make this list.
Right.
It is
because of
there's other teams you just think are done. They're done.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, man. You really think the Giants are going to make the playoffs? And they could possibly do it.
I think they have a pretty good shot, actually.
Well, they're going to lose 2 to us.
Their strength of the schedule could betray them.
Yeah.
And I think and that's why I think the Giants are going to be outside. I think the Falcons have a chance of supplanting the Giants in terms of a playoff team, because if you look at Atlanta's schedule compared to the Giants' schedule the rest of the way, Atlanta has a favorable schedule, and you don't know which Atlanta team is going to pop up week to week. You look at who they're facing. Everything's right there in front of them, staying with the Giants, but the road for the Giants is much stiffer and much tougher than it is for Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta's a playoff caliber team, but I think they might get in by default, and it might cost the Giants a playoff spot.
Because their record, right? I mean, look at their division. They still got division foes to play.
Yeah, but look at Atlanta's division compared to the Giants' division. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, that's crazy.
Exactly. We were supposed to be the least. The least of the beast of the East.
Yeah. So my teams were Atlanta, Seattle, Chargers, New England, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess mine are sort of along Barrett's lines a little bit. Like I'm going to dance between teams that are in and teams that are out. So I think the Giants get in. I think the Commanders get in. I think the Seahawks get in.
Yeah.
The team I'll tell you in the NFC that I think has a chance that is right now a 9 seed. It's not crazy for Atlanta because Tampa has disappointed us all year.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not putting anything past Atlanta. I think Atlanta's got a winnable game, even though they're slight underdogs against the Steelers this week. And they very well could win that game. It's at Atlanta. Okay. So I think that results in a win. Tampa's schedule, they get New Orleans this week. It's a Monday night game. That's not a lock. They're likely to win, but it's not a lock. Then they have to go to San Francisco. Then they have the Bengals at home. Tough game. The last three is where they probably survive and get in. They go to Arizona. They have Carolina at home. They go to Atlanta. That game in Atlanta could be for everything.
Absolutely.
And it's in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
So I would say keep your eye on Atlanta. Most likely it's the Bucks that sneak their way in.
And I hope that game gets bumped to a night game at Eagle State at 1 o'clock against the Giants.
Let's go, baby. I got to tell you, other than the Chargers, I don't buy anybody in the AFC except
I know.
The only team I maybe throw in there is Cleveland.
Ooh,
because I don't know what it's going to look like with Watson. It either looks real bad and rusty, or he breathes life into them, and at 4-7, they get on a little bit of a tear.
Wow. And his first game out of the gate to get all that rust off is against Houston, the worst team in the league.
And his old team. And there is going to be so much emotion there, man.
That's going to be much watch TV.
Yeah, right. And that it either works in his favor or it hurts him. But anyway, so yeah, that's they're the teams I would say to keep your eye on. Like, I don't they definitely have a chance for sure.
So what time's that game come on? Because I'll be peeking at that game, man.
That game. Oh, I'll you know what? Let me give you them real quick. So the game I referenced, that's the Steelers Falcons game is at 1 o'clock. Packers Bears is 1 o'clock. Jags Lions is 1 o'clock. Jets Vikings, that's a real good one, is 1 o'clock. Commanders Giants, a lot of good 1 o'clocks. Eagles 1 o'clock. Broncos Ravens 1 o'clock. The Browns Texans is also 1 o'clock. Barrett.
Look at that, man. 1 o'clock games. That's terrible, man. Because you got Commanders Giants, you got the Browns and Texans.
I know.
And we play at 1 o'clock. Hey, and I'll tell you, you're right, man. That Jags line is going to be.
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's two killers at 4. You got the Dolphins 49ers, and you got the Chiefs Bengals. You got two killers at 4. 4 o'clock, 4:25. Unfortunately, Sunday night and Monday night aren't great. Sunday night is the Chargers and the Raiders.
That could be a good shoot. That could be a good shootout, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's 4:25. My apologies. It's the Colts and the Cowboys are the Sunday night.
Everybody's saying the Colts are going to beat. Everybody's saying the Colts are going to beat Dallas.
Really?
Yeah.
In Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not feeling that one.
Unless your name is Bill Gates and you just got money to throw away, I wouldn't play that game. If your mindset going into that game, Colts at Dallas, is that you're going to put your money on the Colts, I wouldn't touch that game.
No.
Not gonna happen.
No.
You guys, so you think the Bucks will beat the Saints? Because they have had the worst luck. So this is the only year really they've been splitting every year.
Yeah, they play them at Tampa Sunday night or Monday night. That's a big game, really big game for them.
Didn't Tampa already beat them once?
Tampa beat them once, yes.
Yeah, they beat them back in week 2, 20-10 at New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, by the way, Eagles update. Jordan Davis is practicing.
There you go.
Yeah. So he's in there. And a couple of the formations, he was lined up next to Sue. So they have him in there with Ndamukong Suh. That's going to be interesting, man. Barrett, how do you think he'll be utilized?
Was it a 4-man front or a 5-man front?
It should have been a 7-man front.
I'm going off tweets.
A 7-man front. Put everybody up on the line.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to see if I haven't seen anybody who saw that portion of practice tweet out exactly what it is. Yeah. No, nothing yet. If I see anything, I'll let you know, but that's all I got on that. All right, let's do our Power 5 NFC Power 5 rankings. I'll hit it first. I'll go first. 5 Commanders. They have made the top 5 for the first time all year.
Wow.
4 Vikings, 3 49ers, 2 Cowboys, 1 Eagles. I really, all year I've been sort of discounting the Commanders, but I have to give them their props. I put them in there with the way that they played.
I'm gonna do you one, but you said you went Commanders, What else?
Vikings, 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles.
All right. Well, I'm with you with the Commanders. I put them in at number 5. Number 4, Dallas at 8-3.
Okay.
Number 3, 49ers. I'll stay true to form. Number 2, Vikings at 9-2. And then Birds 10-1.
Wow.
Bam.
You have stayed very consistent. I will say this. You've stayed very consistent with both the 49ers and the Cowboys in your doubt of both teams. There has been doubt. Would you agree, Derek Gunn?
I concur, my friend.
My mom used to always say, a hard head make a soft behind. So
that's right. Hey, I can attest to that firsthand.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
I'm just hard-headed, man. I don't know why.
Oh my goodness.
Gunner, you're up.
My list is exactly as Rob's. I'm sitting there going, well, I have Washington at 5. I never thought I'd put Washington at 5. But, my problem with them is they're only scoring 19 points a game, but they have the 8th-ranked defense in the league. So it kind of balances the two. They don't give up a lot of points, but they don't score a lot of points. Number 4, Minnesota. Number 3, San Francisco. 2, Dallas. 1, Eagles.
Okay. All right. Yep. We're on the same page. That's for sure. All right. We'll come back and we'll dip into a couple things. Open talk. Passing of a Hall of Fame pitcher, which we'll get into. College football expansion. Al Horford gets an extension, some more Eagles updates, some birthdays, some movies, all of that in store. Yeah. Al Horford continues to get paid. We will dig into all of that when we come back. Barrett, Derek, Rob, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We're back right.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted,
revered,
Appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate. Honest.
And fair.
He is extremely dedicated,
motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
final segment of the program. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Thursday. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's hit a couple things here, guys. First and foremost, Gaylord Perry passed away. Gaylord Perry pitched in the major leagues for a very long time. He is a 1991 Hall of Famer, 5-time All-Star. He won 2 Cy Youngs. Really made no bones about the fact that he threw spitballs for a lot of years. In fact, the baseball changed the rule. I think it was like the late 60s, early 70s, where you got to go to your hand and kind of lick your fingers and all that kind of stuff. And that's when he stopped doing some of the things that he was doing, but he still pushed the boundaries. Let's be kind about some of the rules. But was a beloved guy, but he passed away at the age of 84 after a pretty amazing career. He won a Cy Young at the age of 40.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that something?
Pretty impressive. In 1978, he won a Cy Young with the Padres. He won one in 72 with Cleveland, and he won one with the Padres. The first time anybody won one in both leagues. So,
and he never an overpowering pitcher.
No.
He was a very crafty pitcher.
Yeah.
He had a great array of off-speed stuff that really helped disguise the, I'm going to say, a little bit better than average fastball that he had.
Yeah. Yeah, had an interesting career, for sure. Was a funny guy, real affable guy, and et cetera. So he passed away. College football is going to expand in the 2024-25 seasons to 12 from bumping it up here to up to 12 teams, excuse me.
Good.
Get in. I am completely in favor of this. I love this. Yeah.
Me too. It opens up the rest. You don't have to be Ohio State or Alabama or you know what I'm saying to be in the playoffs, you know what I'm saying, or Georgia, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the Rose Bowl reached an agreement that officially paves the way for it. So for people who that's how it came out essentially.
Good. I think there are a lot of schools like Big 12 schools that deserve an opportunity to compete in the second season that don't because of the commitment to the so-called Power Four. And it almost seems like every year it's the same teams. Once a year you get a team like Cincinnati in there, but I look at this now as the equivalent as the NCAA basketball tournament. Who knows? One of these Cinderellas could rise up and knock off a powerhouse. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, the way it's going to work is the first round of the playoff in 24 will take place the week ending Saturday, December 21st, at either the home field of the higher seeded team or at another site designated by the higher seed school. Number 12 will be at number 5, 11 at 6, 10 at 7, 9 at 8. Specific game dates likely late in that week will be announced. You'll have the 4 quarterfinal games, 2 semifinal games will be played in bowls on a rotating basis. Yeah, basically.
So what, the first 4 teams get a bye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, that's the way it's going to work. So I felt like we were headed that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, but good to know. So awesome. So to me, the more the merrier. The less downtime we have between when the games end, the conference championships end and the real playoff starting, I hate that month off. And
I know.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah.
Now I'm waiting to see how long it is before the college football power conferences break away from the NCAA.
Oh yeah.
That's coming.
That's coming.
Oh, no question. No question. I mean, they lost their power as soon as they made that likeness agreement, man. They lost all the power because when you had players being amateurs and not being able to get money, you really had them like this because, it's so hard when you're an athlete playing in college and you have no means of work. You can't work. So how are you supposed to be able to pay for anything, you know what I'm saying, if you don't work? You're not allowed to work. It's against NCAA rules to work. So, I mean, it was so tough for me in college, man. I was eating hamburger helper with no hamburger in it, man.
Yeah.
Oodles and noodles every night. I can remember McDonald's would have a special, 37-cent hamburgers, and we go buy about, $10 in hamburgers and go to Aldi's and buy, some cheese and put cheese so we can have cheeseburgers. And that's the type of cheese that you could put it on 1,000 degrees and it wouldn't melt. That's how bad the cheese was, bro. It would never melt, bro. I don't know what we were eating, plastic or whatever it was, man. But, we were surviving, bro.
Could use it as furniture.
Right. We put it underneath the
coasters,
and then it would slide across the floor.
Yeah. And hockey. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that's good. That's a good sign. Positive. This one's not so much a shame because this kid had a phenomenal year. Blake Corum, the running back from Michigan, is going to get surgery and is done for the season.
Oh,
yeah. He tried to give it a go against Ohio State, but he couldn't do it. He got hurt the week before. The kid was a stud, and hopefully he bounces back, has a full recovery. So he's done.
Well, obviously they didn't need him considering what they just did. So
no, they didn't. No, they did not. That's for sure. It was an amazing job by Michigan for sure. And that was at Ohio State too. That win. A couple other things I wanted to hit. Al Horford got a 2-year, $20 million extension. So he's not going anywhere. Likely that'll mean he'll finish out his career in Boston, which is where he wants to be. He's played well since going there. He looked like his career was dead. He didn't fit here.
No.
They shipped him off to Oklahoma City for a year where they basically didn't play him. And then he traded him back to Boston, and he's been rejuvenated. So Al's getting paid, and they're going to be a tough team to beat. They play really good defense. Boston does. They're good. They're tough.
They should.
Al, 78 years old, still getting paid 7 figures, man. God bless him.
That's
you
awesome.
see where he played last year, man?
I know.
Yeah, I know,
he was
man.
a 3-point machine.
Fountain of youth, man.
Who's this dude? It's amazing how players fit in certain systems and just would feel like outcast in other systems, man.
Yeah.
He goes back there and he's rejuvenated his career.
No question. There's no question.
Or Doc just didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Or that. I'm not arguing that one. All right, so let's do a little birthdays. I want to get it back to the birds here at this point. A lot of good birthdays, not so much in terms of movies, but good birthdays. So we'll start with an infamous one. Pablo Escobar was born on this day in 1949. There have been about 1,000 documentaries I've watched on this guy. I swear to God. I mean, so many of them.
That man had 2 countries afraid of him, Colombia and Mexico.
Yep.
And 3.
Right, from U.S.
And the U.S. Now the U.S. went after him. That's why he got him. The U.S. probably said enough.
Some people very afraid of him in the U.S. So yes.
But man, they went after him. If it wasn't for that, who knows? He might still be running around, man.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. He was born this day, 1949. Richard Pryor, one of the GOATs, born on this day in 1940. Richard would have been 82 years old.
The GOAT.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, you talk to a lot of these guys, and Richard Pryor's their main influence. The younger comedians. Zoe Kravitz, Lenny and Lisa Bonet's daughter, 34 years old today. She's in a lot of stuff. Good actress. Looks like her mom. Well, looks like her dad too. She really looks like her mom.
You're right.
For sure. Actress Janelle Monáe is 37 years old today. Sarah Silverman, the comedian actress, is 52 today.
Yep.
Bette Midler, singer actress, is 77 years old today. Charles Michael Davis is 38 today. Treat Williams, the actor, is 71 today.
Treat Williams.
Yeah, he's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Lou Rawls was born on this day in 1933.
Wow.
Yes.
You'll never find.
That voice was like velvet, man. That was
oh, my goodness.
Crazy. Deshaun Jackson, 36 today.
36.
Okay.
Yeah. Jackson. Yep. Okay. Baltimore Ravens own Deshaun Jackson. Javi Baez, the shortstop in Major League Baseball, is 30 years old. Lee Trevino, the longtime golfer, 83 years old, is Lee Trevino. That's all I got birthdays. You got anything else, guys?
Woody Allen, 87.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
wow.
Woody Allen is still with us.
I ain't got nobody, but what? Deion Sanders Jr. is 28.
Okay.
I didn't know he played football.
I didn't.
Wait, he's playing football? Where? I didn't know he played.
His son played out. No, he didn't play anywhere. I guess not.
Okay.
Okay.
But he's junior though, so I don't know. He's a football player's son.
Oh, okay.
That's a tough name. Deion should have given him he should have been David or something.
Or Damascus or
Donnie.
Dimitri or something like that.
Not easy being Deion Sanders Jr. That's a tough one.
Bro, how can you Gary Payton the second is 29 today.
He's carved out a nice career for himself.
Yeah, he did.
Yep. Anybody else? Because then we'll move on to movies here.
We go to movies.
Yeah.
All right. It's not much. 1989 Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase and crew. Actually funny. It's a funny one.
It is.
I do like that one. Shape of Water, which I'm told is good, but I never saw.
I saw it.
2017.
Yeah, I saw it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think
it got a lot of.
It's a pal though, but yes, it's okay. You know, pals are okay sometimes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so that's it as far as the movies. Back to the Eagles, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier with Tennessee and what they're going to bring coming in here. Do you think they try to outthink themselves and throw on the Eagles, knowing that it's pretty obvious they're going to try to pound Derrick Henry down everybody's throat? You think there's any chance that happens?
No. Because ever since Derrick Henry's been with that team, they basically have been the same team. Pound the rock. You know, use the run to set up the pass. They have not deviated one iota from what they are as an offense since Derrick Henry has been there. The only time it's been altered is when he's been injured. How many games did he miss last year?
Yeah, he missed a real healthy chunk last year. Still rushed for over 1,000 yards, I believe.
Yeah. No, he
was he just
short? He had 900 something in 8 games. He had almost 900 and close to 1,000 in 8 games.
Okay,
which was sick in itself. He had over 200 carries in 8 games. Jeez. So no, they're not going to deviate. They are what they are.
Why would you?
What
you gotta bow up, baby.
Barrett, what's the best way to contain this guy?
You got to make him start and stop, man. You know, they line him up 8 yards deep. That way he gets a running start downhill, so he doesn't have to start and stop. You got to make sure you get penetration to make him stutter step and then get him going. It takes him a while to get going. But once he get going, it's like that immovable object. Once it gets going, once something goes in motion, it wants to stay in motion. That's Derrick Henry. He's going downhill. He's going to stiff arm. You're going to get out there, and that's when things get tough. If you can get penetration and stop his momentum before it gets really, really started, you know, you got a shot. You got an opportunity because he's not a wiggle guy. He can't move sideways fast. You know, it's either, you know, catch him when you catch him. Don't allow them to get him going. That's the biggest thing.
All right. So that said, I mean, who is the biggest key here for the Eagles?
They got to stay in that 5-man front, man. They got to stay in the 5-man front, and they got to make sure that they don't deviate from it. You know, usually they try to get cute and put a 4-man front in there. No, don't do it. Once he gets off the field, then you can take that D lineman off the field. You go with a 4-man front. But if he's on the field, you keep that 5-man front in there.
I like your idea, 7-man front.
Right.
What's 7 dudes on here, man? Jeez.
Sheesh.
Oh my goodness. I don't know, man.
Listen, man, I hear you. And it's going to be, you know, the ultimate challenge. But you know what? We looked at it the same way. And I know he was coming off an injury from a couple of weeks ago, but we looked at it the same way with Jonathan Taylor. And they held Taylor in check after that first series.
Sure did.
And it's not impossible. Cincinnati did it last week.
That's right.
He didn't gash on the ground. He was good. I would say he was good in that Green Bay game. He wasn't great. And that was on a short rest too, you know, for him.
But Cincinnati had a whole lot of men around the box. I don't see the Eagles doing that.
They were bringing the safety up and blitzing the safety off the side too.
That's right.
So you don't believe that they're going to change anything up. You think Gannon's going to do what Gannon does?
I think Gannon's going to do what Gannon does, and we'll sit here and debate it on Monday, whether it was right or wrong. That's what I think. And we'll debate.
Barrett, do you think he'll get creative here?
He has to.
Yeah.
This is a crucial game for us. Because if they can stop the run here, it's going to take a lot of these other teams like, oh man, they stopped the run. So this is a difference maker in the aspect of how the rest of the league portrays them, how the rest of the league looks at them. If they can stop Derrick Henry, they can stop anybody. As long as they, you know, keep being this leaky sieve, you know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But this could be a deciding factor in the league on how teams look at them. And you'll see teams start, all right, we got to find another way to beat this Eagles defense.
Yeah, but you got to lay that blueprint, you know, if you're the Eagles, that's for sure. But good news is Jordan Davis is practicing. And I didn't see any further updates. You guys know you get booted out of there pretty quick, guys. So I don't know how much those guys can get in terms of how it looked or how he looked or whatever. But I'm trying to remember now because they changed things up. Does Sirianni meet again with the media?
I think Friday.
Friday?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get some insight on what that, potentially could look like. But that's big. You're getting healthier, right? You're chipping away at it. You're going to get one back this week, one the following. You go Davis back, then you go Maddox back, then you go Goddard back. Goddard out of the sling. He's moving that arm around. He was showing people yesterday, said he feels pretty good. and he thinks he's definitely on target. I mean, what a boost that's going to be.
Absolutely. I can't wait, man.
And that would be, if I'm looking at the games right, when you would get him back. So you would get Maddox back for the Giants game at New York next week, which is staying a 1:00 game, by the way. And then you would get Goddard back at Chicago, which is also dare I say, knock on wood, 3 straight weeks of 1:00 right now.
That's right. You had to jinx it, didn't you? You just had to jinx it.
Well, we know we're good for at least 2 weeks.
You had just had to mess it up, man. You couldn't let it go.
All right. The one where listen, we're just resign. The only way that last game is not moved is if everything's wrapped, which is possible against the Giants. That January 8th game.
And I hope there's another game more meaningful.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, now that I say that, I guess they could flex New Orleans too on New Year's Day.
Man, don't even make that game a 4:25 game, please. I hope the Giants are out. The Eagles have secured the #1 seed 2 weeks prior, and that game means nothing.
Yeah, I hear you.
That game at 1:00 dud. Just leave it.
I hear you. All right, listen. Tomorrow, we are going to get you set for the game. We'll dig in a little bit further, give you our predictions for the game. We'll go through the entire schedule coming up, and it's like we just kind of ran through it really quickly. But Week 13's got some real good matchups. We'll dig into that a little bit further, what they need to do against Tennessee, and get you set for everything else that's happening in Philadelphia sports. Sixers play tomorrow night as well. Flyers coming off that game against the Islanders, and if there's any Phillies news coming out, we'll keep you further updated, as well as anything from Eagles practice in terms of health-wise, because there's a few guys you're certainly keeping your eye on as they rehab to get back in here and what this is going to look like. All right. So want to thank Xander Krause producing the program. Great job out of Xander as always. Want to thank everybody in the chat section for hanging out with us, everybody streaming, everybody listening. Hey, again, reminder, go to jakibsports.com for any of our interviews. We had Teron Davenport on a little bit earlier, who was really good. We had Brian Westbrook on yesterday. On Tuesday, we had Jimmy Kempski. These things are really good, and they all stand up. Like if you're getting yourself set for the game, say Saturday or Sunday morning, and you just want a little Eagles fix before our pregame show, jump on it. Take a listen. It's always good stuff right there. And Derek's got his gun on one with Hugh Douglas as well, who went into the Eagles Hall of Fame this past week along with Trent Cole. So all that is there. That's for sure. Let's smash that like button, and we appreciate it. So coming up, the National Football Show with Dan Cilio. Dan's got you, and we're back tomorrow with 3 hours of power. For Barrett Brooks, for Derek Gunn, I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Jim Gardner is an icon.
A Philadelphia treasure.
He's a mentor, a pace setter.
Jim is my North Star.
He's trusted, revered.
Appreciated.
He is Action News.
He's compassionate. Honest.
And fair.
He is extremely dedicated,
motivated, and always seeking the truth.
He's also funny. We are a team of many.
Jim Gardner is our leader, and we're lucky to have him.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia Dreams. Up and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.